ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world, hello, welcome to another episode of The Watchable with me, host Jean-Luc. Let's make some noise, yes sir. Clap it up, get excited, wherever you are. We're back with another action-packed show for today, covering the world of boxing, and more specifically than anything else on this show. We got a lot to cover. We've had the last Top Rank event officially go underway, with the Top Rank now being no more, at least on ESPN, and Xander Zayas winning the title, now amongst the elites of the elite at 154 pounds. Who do we want to see him fight next? What is his likelihood? How was his performance last night? Also, with Carrington, Bruce Carrington, who was coming through and was indeed, again, looking like, well, honestly, it's been a little bit split how that performance was on last weekend. Was it impressive? Was it not? Again, it wasn't against a incredibly impressive opponent, though, again, he was undefeated coming out of Africa, but still, with this now being in the precedent of he's calling his shot at 126 against some of the biggest lions in the division, based on what we've seen. Now do we think he really has a shot at beating the likes of the Espinosas, of the Angela Lees, of the Nick Balls, and others at the division? Oh, we got a lot to talk about in a short amount of time to do it, so we appreciate your time coming through with today. And so again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you coming in on our show. Also, Young Guns, hey brother, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks so much for tuning in. So glad that you're here. I can't wait to hear your thoughts and opinions on this topic. Again, before we get started, let me do a quick intro. If you're new to the show, please go ahead and leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the empire. Yes, indeed, come join this conglomerate and hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube and every podcasting platform imaginable. Also, be sure to make sure that you share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. Yes, sir. All with you and your support, making this possible. And we can't do this without you. Also available on every podcasting platform imaginable. Spotify, Apple, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, tell us, we'll get there. Absolutely. And be sure, if you want to support the show, and hey, you got some extra cash you want to give, Cash App, PayPal, links in the description as well, for us to be able to discuss for us to be able to keep the show going and help us make it so that we can make this thing thrive, all with you and your support. Because again, we can't do this without you. So we appreciate it so much. But with all that being said, we got a lot to talk about in a short amount of time to do it. So without further ado, since we talk about boxing first and foremost on this show, it is time to step into the ring. Yes, sir. Let's get it started. Ring the bell. It's time to work. It's time to get this show on the road. And first off, we got to talk about, well, one of the bigger names one of the bigger up-and-coming names. There's now a newfound champion, and we already got some people in the chat with Xander Zayas going through and winning the title, going up against, what was it now? Off the top of my head, can't remember. Garcia, that's who it was, winning the title against Garcia in a very, I would say it was a competitive, fun affair, but more so, but we saw Xander go and take control and do his thing. And now officially, we have Xander Zayas, but who I've been very fond of, as one of the premier championship holders at 154 pounds. And now we have an inkling of rumination. It's not a facade, excuse me. We have a pressing intrigue now, based on what he can do and how the hype we've had about him coming up throughout his entire career. Now it's time to work. Now we want to see if he can try to go for undisputed at 154. If he does, but he's got a murderer's road he's got to go up against if he wants to indeed go that route. And I want to see from you all how you feel this is going to go for him in his career. But before we do that, let me go and look at the chats right now so we can see who in the world and joining on the show. Young Guns, I already said, what's up to you? How you doing? Sergey, what's going on, brother? Thanks for tuning into the show. So glad that you're here. How you doing? Thank you so much for coming in on today. Let me read what you got to say. Let's see, Xander versus Haney. That would be a very good matchup. I can't lie. Now, I do have some, well, actually, hold on. Wait a minute. I didn't, that might actually be better than I may have first expected it to be. because of the size and length that Zayas has on him. Let me tell you something real quick before we even continue. But Xander Zayas is a very big guy at 154 pounds. I think I failed to recognize truly how big size-wise this cat is going up against the rest of the division. Now, some people say he might have been weight drained at 154. Man, some people are speculating he's going to move it to 160 sooner rather than later because he was looking like, at least on stage, struggling to really make the weight comfortably. But once he rehydrated, though, man, that dude looks impressive. That man looks big, huge for this division. I'm serious. And similar thing that we've had with Haney at the smaller weight class. Now, if that fight did come into play with Haney versus Xander Zayas, boy, that might be something that Haney might have some trouble with. That might be something, well, maybe not at 154. Excuse me, he's still at 147. At 154, I think Haney, Haney hasn't moved up to 154. Let me rephrase it. Haney has not moved up to 154. He's still at 147. If he did move up to 154, like he potentially is going to do, at least at a catchweight at 152, I think that's where he gets beat sound cleanly without any further issues. I truly believe. But if that fight did happen, it might actually be a pretty good scrap. But I would think that we would see the likes of probably Zayas win. At least in my humble opinion. But let me keep on reading what you all got to say. Xander at 154 has no power and loves to clinch away. I mean, he did clinch against Garcia. Now, when I was watching him, he was indeed, while he would fight on the back foot at times, he was giving the business to Garcia. I mean, he was using his jab incredibly. He was countering Garcia, especially with that hook that he was trying to throw. Now, he did get caught with that check hook when he was trying to counter Garcia. That would happen. Happened more times than I would have liked. But still, hey, it's still a situation where we're looking at a brother who is indeed looking like he's got the goods to be able to compete at 154. Though power may not be the biggest thing in his repertoire per se, still has the size advantage and does know how to use it and is very good. He is very good at putting punches together and throwing combinations. He's really good. I do love that, and I love that in this fight with Garcia. I'm not sold on him. Puerto Rico is craving a star so badly, like Cotto or Tito. I mean, like you ain't wrong, but like I'm high on him. I can't lie. I'm high on Zayas. I think he's got the goods. Yes, I thought he had some more power than he did, though he was causing some swelling on Garcia's face in this fight, though he was indeed doing some good work when being able to counter the looping nature that we saw with Garcia throwing. Though Garcia was landing some good shots on him throughout the night, which helped make this fight competitive. I'm not saying he's a perfect fighter. No. But I am saying I think he may be able to give some people at this division some real trouble, some real concern, even if it's not with demonstrative power as we would like for somebody of his frame and stature at 154. But let me keep on reading. I think, let me see, Janibek, I think is moving to 168. So 160 will be wide open. You right about that. Apparently, Janibek isn't able to get any sort of fights coming this way due to the issue of people genuinely not trying to take fights with him. At least if we're going off of the words of Turkey Al Sheikh. Seemingly, people don't want to go through and step up to the plate when it comes to working with or fighting against the likes of Janibek. Janibek Ali Muhammad just looks to be an incredible force that people are trying to get away from. And at 160, right now, he rules without any real equal. And at 168, I mean, what, if you want to say there's an equal or competitor, sure, we would look at the likes of Carlos Adames. That's what we'll be looking at. But even then, again, per Turkey Al Sheikh, that fight didn't happen because Carlos and them were being, I guess, belligerent when it comes to how much they were demanding with money. And then, boom, pulled out. But still, if he doesn't want to 168, now that would be incredible. Listen, I would love to see Janibek versus the likes of the Plant. I would love to see Janibek above or against the likes of Again, a Charlo, if that fight did take place. I would love to see Janet versus Canelo, if that fight ever was able to happen. Chavez. Oh, excuse me, Chivas. My apologies. I would love to see Janet versus Chivas. That would be a great fight. There's a lot of great fights at 168 I would love to see Janet be able to fight against and take his talents too. Let me see. I think Keith Thurman is. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, no. I think Keith Thurman right now schools Xander. I don't know if I can say that. Again, if we talk about 154, See, right now I'm not sold on Thurman from the standpoint of how much rust has gotten off of him. How much rust has been able to since we've only seen him back for one fight. I don't know how much polish Keith Thurman has been able to regain, or rather even sustain, based off of only that one fight that he's had at 158, or 154. Now, if he fights again, okay, shoot, it would be a more wide range of skill sets, a better way to see the full breadth of Keith Thurman at this advanced age. Though again, he can still be competitive. He hasn't lost all the luster that he had when he was reigning at the division, or at least reigning at 147. But still, while we know Tim Tszyu is now at the bottom of the barrel, more so with his loss or knockout to Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora being at the top of the heap. Like him again, Zayas now being one of the 4 defining champions of the division. With Keith Thurman still being in that competitive mix. How competitive? I just don't know. At least from my humble standpoint. But even still, we'll have to wait and see. So I can't say that he schools him yet. Experience-wise, yes, he's smarter. But physically, it still needs to be able to show some better feel of the game again. Because again, he's coming back. We keep seeing these long layoffs though for the likes of Keith Thurman. Then no, I definitely ain't gonna say he beat Xander Zayas. I definitely won't. I promise you that. If we see Keith Thurman continue to constantly have these long layoffs, like he's been doing for at least the latter half of his career, when again he took 3 years off, had a fight, and it's been a couple months since. I need to see that brother back consistently. It can be against bumps. It can be against people that ain't that great. I don't care. You ain't got the time to be able to sit and wait and just say, oh yeah, I can just train. You need to be in fight mode from hereafter. Because brother, I don't know how much you lost, and I don't know how much you can gain from your 3+ year layoff. And if you really want to compete and be a titles, be a contender, fight against all these other young guns that you say you can beat, you got to show that you still got it on a consistent scale. And right now, I'm not seeing it because it's not consistent to the point where, okay, yeah, I can have confidence in it. So I can't say nothing about Keith Thurman until I see that brother in the ring again, or a fight announced again against a legitimate, or even just any opponent. I don't care, a legitimate or not, anybody. Because that one fight ain't selling me that he's going to be able to do what he can do against the likes of these young, consistent lions, and the likes of Zayas, even Sebastian Fundora. I just don't got the confidence, because with him, I don't have the consistency to really get a framework of what he is actually at this stage in his career. But let me keep on reading what you all I have to. Was it? Is it Punchy? Hopefully I'm saying it right. Punchy, what's good with it? What's good with you, brother? Hey, how you doing? So glad that you're here. Thanks for tuning into the show. Let me just salute Jean-Luc, new viewer. Great. So, hey, it's your first time here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Watch Report. We do this every single week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, covering the world of boxing and beyond, primarily the boxing regime. And we do this every day from around 12 o'clock, or around 12:30 to whenever you all end the show. So we here, we live, and I'm so glad that you're here. And hopefully you want to stick around. We're going to have a lot to say. And also, end of the show, we got this thing called the championship rounds. And in the championship rounds, you'll see this banner pop up and you'll hear this sound. Yes, sir. And when you hear the sound of the bell ring, Now it's time to make your voice your own, or to show your voice to the masses. Make the show your own, and whatever topics you want to discuss in boxing or beyond, we give you all the keys to the car, and we let y'all drive the show for the next 30 minutes to an hour, however long we may go once this segment of the show hits, and you all can have your own, essentially, your own rundown. Or whatever you want to discuss with my opinions, your questions or debates, whatever the word you want to have, we can talk about it right here on the show. So, hey, make it do what it do when the sound of the bell does indeed hit. But again, right now we're talking with Zayas and his likelihood to be able to not just retain, but compete against the other big dogs at 154. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Carrington a little bit, because again, it wasn't as big of a event, at least with Xander Zayas being the guy that we're all touting at this hot 154-pound division, what he can do. But then we're going to talk about Tank, and Tank is going to take the longest time. So we're going to save that for the last part of the show. I know, I don't want to hold y'all back, but we got to do what we got to do, because I know once we start talking about Tank, brother, it's not going to stop. I know how we run on this show. So we're going to say that for the last segment, because this is definitely going to be the longest segment. Let me keep on reading. Let me keep on reading what you all have to say. Let's see. I was joking with the Haney name as Xander's last name because he don't have power and clinching yet. What? I mean, hey, it was. I'm taking it serious because the way we know this whole regime's been going, we've had people. Excuse me while I move my camera. We've had people moving up, moving down, going all which ways. So we could very well see that fight potentially in the near future if we do see Devin Haney move up. If we do see Devin Haney hypothetically go fight Boots, then now it's there. Oh, I forgot. Zayas versus Boots. That's another proposition that can happen. Xander Zayas versus Jerron Boots Ennis. Now that Boots is officially at 154 pounds. No, we still don't know when we're going to see that fight happen. We are supposedly, there's been an offer given. I think I believe Josh Kelly. But apparently Josh Kelly's manager has been saying that offer is filled with disarray or something along those lines. So that might not even be happening again. We talked about Boots in the past. We just want to see him in the ring against anybody. Hopefully so. And again, Young Gun should beat me to it. Josh Kelly and Boots, I was hearing, is talked about. Boots, both are 2 and 3 in WBO rankings, with Perez at 1, losing to Xander. You're right. But again, that fight is still up in limbo right now because apparently Kelly's team took issue to whatever the offer was. And with Boots, now if he's got to pivot, we don't know where he's going to pivot, and we don't know how long it's going to take for a fight to actually take place. Because even before this, there were situations where, we've been waiting on Boots to get in the ring after the Stanionis fight. The Willie Woney situation with him fighting at 147 and 154. Now that he's confirmed to be at 154, like we said before, we need to see him in the ring against somebody, anybody, at this stage. Because right now, the grandeur of his name, based on that fight against Stanionis, is starting to wane, and wane quickly. And fans are getting anxious and frustrated with the lack of in-ring responsibility from the standpoint of fighting consistently. From Jerron Boots Ennis, it's I'm not saying it's turning people against him, but it's starting to get people to start to question some things. And that can be problematic, no question about it. But let me keep on reading. All that clinching about Zayas, yes, it got people mad. I will admit, hey, I'm not, like I said, I will admit, I know, I've been a big fan. Clinching has been a problem. I can't lie. That is one thing I don't like. With all of the physical height tools, reach, legitimate good hand speed, all that's well and good with Zayas. He does clinch a lot. I can't lie. He does clinch a whole bunch, more than I would like. I didn't want to say it because excuse me. Let me rephrase that. I should say it regardless of which, because we're trying to be unbiased on the show. Yeah, Zayas is a brother who, with all that stuff, still regulates himself too much at times to trying to clinch his opponent. And it will, if he doesn't curtail that, if he doesn't turn that clinch into a legitimate way to control his opposition, like, I'm fine with clinching, but I don't like clinching without substance. And if you're clinching just to clinch or just to stop momentum without using the clinch to your advantage to be able to turn your opponent to a corner, to a side of the ring that you want, to be able to walk them down to where you want them to go, to be able to then manipulate inside the clinch and work on the inside, that would be great. I would have no issue with that. But that's not what he's doing. And again, it echoes the calls what we've seen with Devin Haney against Kambosos, or Devin Haney against, most of the other big punchers of the time when it comes to clinching up, holding, and making sure he doesn't get caught. It can frustrate a lot of people. It definitely can. It definitely can. Now, if he gets away from that a little bit, we could have a more entertaining and exciting fight. Now, I'm all down for that. I am. And I think he can do it. I think he has that ability. I truly believe he's got the goods that if he wouldn't need the clinch to be able to be advantageous, aggressive, and genuinely great in the pocket. And I think he can handle pressure when it comes his way without having to rely on the clinch to be able to stifle any momentum. At least for me. But, like I said, I can talk till the cows come home. He's got to show it. He does have to show it. And real quick, I want to hear from you all. How do you feel about him going up against the other big dogs at 154? Because I think, again, we had our talks with the Haneys and others. Sure. But at 154, now, do you think he can keep that title or even unify against what is one of the more dangerous, brutal, volatile, and outright destructive divisions in all of boxing? Or do you think he's going to be a flash in the pan that, like you said, some of you all aren't sold with it, and you're going to see that man quickly crash and burn into oblivion, hypothetically? Because again, if we're going to go with the competitors at this division, you got Erickson Lubin, who said that Xander Zayas was fruit. You got Israel Madrimov, who again gave Crawford a tough test and made Virgil Ortiz have to think a little bit, but ultimately got beat. You got Belichick, who gave Virgil Ortiz all he could handle in one of the fights of the year. You got Virgil Ortiz, who again is one of the biggest killers in this division. It can swat with the best of them, and brother, though he may not, he is even amongst the title holders. I don't even think Virgil Ortiz, I can't remember if Virgil Ortiz has a title or not, but regardless of which, he doesn't need one, because he's still a bigger threat than most of the people that got belts. Then you got Bakwan Murtazali, and then you got Sebastian Fundora. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. 4 of them are champions. He's got to be able to run through to be able to either hold on or retain and gain some status and notoriety. Brother, what do we think he's going to be able to do against those types of dogs? And again, based on this type of performance, I'm not saying he can't compete, but I am saying it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. I will say that. I'll say that. It's going to be a struggle for that boy trying to fight this division. It's going to, brother, you want to talk about problems? It's about to be a major problem, a huge problem at this division to keep and also attain other titles when it comes to fighting at this, stupidly deep division. And well, let me see, you got, I got Jesus Ramos, or let me see, Ponce, I got Jesus Ramos over Zayas. And you know what? Shoot. I don't. But even still, I understand why you would. I get why you would. I get why you would. again, off the backs of this performance. Like I said, he showed some good qualities going and beating Garcia, but what was the pitfalls are indeed big. And going up against, again, even Ramos, who I think is the benchmark for if you're not above him, but you ain't competing for a title. And I think he's above him. I do. But it ain't that far. It ain't leaps and bounds based off of this last fight. And I'm thinking, man, as high as I want to be on Xander Zayas and his ability, which I do think is indeed, it's great. I truly do. But I'm not gonna forget the fact that this cat might not be able to keep his status. That O can go away just like that. If he faces off against the 6 of the top 10 in this division, shoot, even Madrimov might give him some trouble, hypothetically. And he could lose to him too. Though I think we will see Zayas beat Madrimov, it could genuinely be an issue. They can lose against him. But let me keep on reading. Let me see. Xander doesn't beat Conor Ben today. Xander versus Madrimov. What do you think? Like I said, Madrimov, I don't think he. Shoot. I don't want to say he struggles. But by gosh, if we saw Ortiz have some trouble with Madrimov for 6 rounds, it ain't true. Brother, he'll give Zayas all he can handle. That's a 50-50 fight. That might be a 50-50 fight. Zayas versus Madrimov. Genuine. And again, I hate saying this, because I'm really high on Zayas. I really love Zayas. Outside of the clinching, I really like his ability. I do. Especially with how big he is for the division. But dang it. Dang it. I can't overlook what we're missing. I can't overlook the bad. I can't overlook the need to clinch. I can't overlook himself being able to handling himself inside the pocket. I can't overlook him getting tagged with shots. And if you use a level of volume against him, there is some concern. I can't overlook that going up against these other people who have been titleists, who have showed that those types of holes, they're able to pick apart at the drop of a hat. They really are. And so whether it's Conor Ben, whether it's Madrimov, whether it's Ramos, whether it's Bakram, whether it's Fundora, that whole litany, or Boots Ennis, it's going to be a climb. It's going to be a real climb trying to get over there. I guarantee you that. I promise you that. Madrimov gave Crawford more problems than Ortiz. He did. Like he did. He absolutely right, he did. And so again, Zayas going up against that. Though again, physically he's bigger. Mentally, he ain't nowhere close to what we see with Crawford. And against the mental IQ or boxing IQ of Virgil Ortiz, I don't think he's there either. Definitely not from a physicality standpoint and power perspective. Though again, Zayas has good feet. Again, he's got a good jab. He's got two great hand speed. I think he's got borderline great hand speed. He can eat some shots. He does have an impressive chin. Because when he did eat stuff against Garcia, hey, he wasn't going down. I'll give him that. But even still, it's last night, while it was a crowning again of a champ, it ain't the best foot forward as your first stint into being at the top of this division, or at least amongst the top of this division. I tell you what, there's a lot of people at 154 that feel like they see blood in the water when it comes to Zayas. An easy title, an easy win, a great boost to your name, knocking down a young gun. I guarantee you, there's some people like Erickson Lubin chomping at the bit to get Zayas as quick as they can. Because for all the good stuff that we have about Zayas, which again, is good. He is beatable. He's definitely beatable. He's definitely beatable against these other boxers. So it's gonna be it's gonna be incredibly interesting to see. Let me see. I think Virgil still recovering from hand surgery. Is he? I know he got surgery. I thought he was at least close to full recovery. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But regardless of which, we'll have to see. But either way, at this point, if there's 6 names if there are 6 names at the super welterweight division or at 154, with Sebastian Fundora, Bakram, Virgil Ortiz, Boachuk, Majimov, Ramos, and Lubin, all of whom are indeed genuine competitors, champions, and or threats to the likes of Zayas. There's a lot of names on this list that people would say at this stage in time, Zayas ain't beaten. Now, he can get better next fight, because like we said, when you become a champion, you become, 10, 20% better? Or you can be 30% better, that's the word. You become 30% better because now you got a target on your back. And everybody else becomes more hungry against you. Because now you are indeed a genuine, you are a brass ring. So you got to be that much better because the competition is going to come at you with even more fervor because you got something that they want. And Zayas at this point in time still got a lot to show before we see him as being able to overcome what is going to be a steeper hill to climb now that he is at or near the top of this mountain at the 154-pound division. But regardless of which, we got to keep on rocking. But that's all I got to say on the matter when it comes to Xander Zayas. Let me see Dale Anderson. Hey, brother. How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks so much for tuning in the show. We're getting ready to switch gears real quick to Bruce Carrington and then going away into Tank, because I know that's what a lot of people are here for. I guarantee you I know that's what a lot of people are here for. I promise you that. I dare say I want to go into Tank right now, but we got to cover at least somewhat of the stuff going on with what happened in the early divisions, and then, or what happened with the fights last weekend, and then we go into Tank. Let me see. Hi, John Luke. What do you mean, Tank? What do you mean by Tank checked out? I mean, going off the backs of what Timothy Bradley had said. I think it was at the end of the broadcast or in like an interview after that whole press conference, or not press conference, after the fights last weekend. But he was essentially saying that Tank Davis, as a boxer, mentally is checked out of the sport and he's already gone. As in, all this rah-rah about going through and searching for opponents, searching for people, big names to fight, the Lamont Roach fight, whether it was or any fight at 135 with Shakur Stevenson, Abdullah Mason, Floyd Schofield, all those names, all those opponents, we can throw them out the window because he's not even attempting to go through and look to face them. Because he is in the retirement stage of his career. Again, Timothy Bradley's words, not mine. We're going to talk about that and that whole situation after we talk about the Shushu Carrington fight. Because I did want to touch on that. Hold on, wait a minute. Oh shoot, hold on. Wait a second. Is something going through? Okay, never mind. I thought something was breaking in the news. And so, but that's what that's about. But we're gonna cover that after we cover this fight real quick with Bruce Carrington. Let me see. I'm kind of disappointed in Virgil Ortiz. In Virgil Ortiz, Zayas has become champion before him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to put together how the world Ortiz is not a champion. I think that's one thing I don't understand. How is it with as great as we know he is? And he has vouched for his talent is not under question. How in the world is it that he hasn't gotten the title? But Zayas says, now this could make it so that Virgil faces off against Zayas, and then boom, I think Virgil beats Zayas. I think he knocks out Zayas, and then Now we see Virgil get a title, potentially. Maybe now the dry stint will be over, and we'll see that brother get a potential position to win a title. Like I said, he had hand surgery, was recovering. If he has recovered fully, which I think the process has been going along pretty well, then we get to see Virgil versus Zayas. Most likely, if I was Zayas, or excuse me, if I was Virgil, I'm gunning for that fight as quick as I can. As quick as I can. Either him or Sebastian Fundora. Though Fundora, I think at this point in time, would be a bigger threat. Also, with what he did to Tim Tszyu, looking a little bit dangerous. I can't lie. Has shocked me with what I knew about Sebastian Fundora in the past. But still, wouldn't be mad to see in that fight. But I would have hoped that potentially later on in the year, we finally get him in a title position. Let me see. Are you covering the Japanese card? Oh, you talking with who's coming on? Tajiri. Yeah. Pound for pound fighter Tajiri. I forgot he is fighting Wednesday. Just had their weigh in today. It was either today. Yeah. Had their weigh in today. And both fighters came in on weight. It's gonna be on the zone, right? Am I gonna be? Should I? You know what? I just might. I'll put out. We'll put it 50-50 for now. I'll put out a bulletin later on today on whether or not I will or will not be covering that card for Wednesday morning, because I know it's going to be in the morning. Good gosh, I know it's going to be early, but I'll put out a thing for it, and if we can do it, hey, we'll make it happen. We'll make it do what it do. We'll make it rock. Absolutely. If we can't, I'll put out one that says that we can't. So 50-50 right now that we potentially will be able to do the card for Tajiri in the morning. Good gosh, 2:30, 2:03.
We got some problems here.
That's so early on a Wednesday. You know what? If we can power through it, regardless of time, because I got some other stuff I got to take care of tonight. If we can power through it, we'll get up and we'll cover the fight. We'll do it. I know it's early, but if y'all want it, we'll make it happen. In fact, I'll put out a poll. That'll be the defining factor. I will put out a poll today after the show. And if we do indeed want to have that fight as a live stream, we'll work to make it happen. Hey, we'll do the will of the people, and we'll make it do what it do. I'm down for it. I am down for it. We'll put it out on the poll, and we'll see what people have. Let me see. Tank's not rematching Welch. He's not. He really ain't. You know what? We're on Tank. At this point in time, we got too many people in the chat, and we know what the hot button issue is. It's already a rolling discussion. We can go on and talk about Tank real quick. Let's do the switching gears now. We'll give 30 seconds or maybe like 2 minutes to the Shushu Carrington fight, and then we're going directly into Tank. Because again, as you can see, right now, no, that ain't it. Yeah, there we go. Tank is next. Let's quickly do Bruce Carrington. We don't want to lose people, because I know people want to hear about Tank Davis. So real quick, Bruce Carrington. Let's cover the fight. Let's cover the thing. He dominated. Hey, Hati, hopefully I'm saying his name correctly. If not, I apologize. Won by all-encompassing decision. Shushu, was it an impressive fight or not? I wasn't as impressed as I wanted to be. Now, again, the opponent wasn't all that great. Again, respect to him, undefeated coming in after. But again, wasn't all that great. We expected Shushu to be able to win. However, if it was any of the other competitors at 150, at 126, like with the Espinosas, like with the Nick Balls, like with even Angelo Lee's, or who's the other? No, excuse me. Out of them three, on top of Bruce being a champion, most likely they would have gotten him out of there. I can't lie. Let's be real. Let's be completely honest. We expected him to clean shop and clean house and knock out this dude. But he didn't. Now, he boxed well, sure. Got caught a couple times with some good power shots, took it well, absolutely. But it wasn't nearly as impressive as I was expecting to see from a brother who is at the top of 126. Now, if he does indeed want to keep to his word and call out these other names at 126, like the Nick Balls, the Espinosas, and others, then do we think this cat can really win? Do we think he can really go and really compete and potentially overcome the likes of these other competitors when it comes to 126 and potentially becoming undisputed at this division, or at least unified? And if we go down the list, if we go against Espinoza, right now, if Carrington fought against Espinoza, brother, I got him getting knocked out. I do. I genuinely do. I got Shushu getting knocked out right now. Because, and again, he showed great head movement. He showed good ability to get out the way with defense. Good countering abilities with, again, a lot of pull counters. Good use of his jab, absolutely. But there were times when I was like, something's just missing. And I couldn't put my finger. Even today, I can't put my finger on it. But something's missing when it comes to Bruce Carrington and his game. And from him repping the destructive nature, which is not just bravado, but with his, again, ability, or what we perceived it to be. Something just ain't there. And I can't put my finger on it. But something seems very much lacking when it comes to Bruce Carrington against these other great fighters at 126. I can't put my finger on it. But it is clear and apparent. And I don't got confidence this brother's going to be able to win against those killers at 126. I just don't. I'm not too convinced with Carrington. I thought he lost versus Segua. Like, there's a legitimate argument that he lost that fight. Now, I felt that he won, but it wasn't running away. It wasn't running away. But beyond that fight, I was expecting to see some real, like, shock and awe when it came to what Bruce can be now that he is essentially right there. He's right there. He's been saying he wants this smoke for a while. Now, after this card with Top Rank, after this, most likely it is going to be at least one of the big hitters coming down the pipe. It's going to be a fight. And I just am not convinced right now. And it's a shame. It's a shame. It really is a shame. I thought he was going to show some more power. The defense, great. I like that. The head movement, I love the use of the jab with him throwing it out 1, 2, even 3 times concussively. Being able to switch it up and operate behind it all fight long. I did love that. I didn't like that right hand that he would throw to the body that would continually look like it was getting smothered. I hated that. I love the straight right that he was laying into the head, though. Off of defense and off of countering. I did love that. But it seemed like there was I don't want to say that he was just biding time and just riding the wave. I don't want to say that. But I also don't want to be here and act like, oh man, this cat did all that he could. The other opponent was just tough. Nah. It really did look like he was he could have done some more. This should have been an opponent this should have been an opponent that Carrington got out of there. The fact that he didn't get him out of there, or at least didn't dominate the fight in as exciting and complete bludgeoning fashion. I have my doubts to some degree about him going up against these other greats, like Nick Ball, for example. Carrington against Nick Ball, brother, I really ain't got no confidence in you. I really don't. I think Nick Ball beats Bruce Carrington right now because of once it gets to that inside fight game. I'm not saying Bruce can't handle himself, but what he showed in this fight, it is nowhere close to what it needs to be to beat that type of Tasmanian devil. Essentially, from the standpoint of him being able to just be a whirling dervish of pain. Pain, hooks, and physical strength that will also be able to cut off the ring and potentially nullify your jab to become obsolete. And now, what are you going to be able to do? I'm not saying it's going to be a Nick Ball versus Raymond Ford type situation. I think it's going to be more competitive than that, but still, it's going to be a tough out. I don't think he can overcome Espinoza with how he fought in this fight. If he fights like that against Espinoza, but he's getting boom. Like the honeymooners to the moon. Because that uppercut by Rafael Espinoza, buddy, that is going to clean his clock. It's going to happen. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad. If he keeps trying to posture and play chicken with his hands down like he was doing it in last weekend against these killers, especially against Espinoza, with that much of a height and reach disadvantage. Now, mind you, your jab ain't sharp enough to be able to beat that. No. It's gonna be a litany of hurt and pain. A litany of hurt and pain right now. If you want to jump into the fire, go ahead. But right now, I needed to see something more from that last fight, especially against an opponent that, again, with all due respect to him, again, undefeated, understandable. But this should have been a brother who with his talent being slower, with his movement being not nearly as refined, and with his boxing ability not nearly being as on the level as Bruce Carrington, you should have been able to get him out of there. Not saying a knockout is everything, but there should have been a more dominant approach to that fight that Bruce didn't take. Not because he couldn't take it, for some odd reason. And I'm concerned. I can't lie. I'm concerned. And I love Bruce Carrington, but I'm concerned. I'm a little bit concerned. And so, again, time will tell. We have to wait and see. But regardless of which, he's in it now. He called him out verbatim. Watch, in the next couple months, we're probably going to see one of those big names get into a fight with him. I don't think it's going to be Nick Ball, because I think Nick Ball already has an opponent locked up for later on this year. But if he doesn't, I guarantee you he'll want to take that opportunity. If it is Espinoza, if he doesn't got to fight, that might be the most likely fight to make. Unless his team deems him as, you don't want to mess with that type of behemoth right now. I'm not saying he's scared. I'm not saying Bruce Carrington's scared. But if I was Bruce's team, you ain't getting in the ring with that. You ain't getting in the ring with Espinoza. Not at all. Not right now. I guarantee you not. Maybe with Angelo. Maybe. Hypothetically. But even then, that's a brother who I would even be skeptical you fighting him for the sake of you being able to win and win comfortably with Angelo Lee. You might get outboxed in that. And don't forget Stephen Fulton. My gosh, don't forget Stephen Fulton, who has seemingly gotten even better from his days at 126. I ain't picking Bruce over him either. So of the 4 top-ranked fighters at 126, Bruce ain't on that level. At least after this fight. For me. At least after watching this. I don't know. Can he get there? He still can. Is he a threat? Yes, he is. Is he a big threat? Not as big as I thought he was. Going up against, at least now with this last fight as our example. So, he's going to take some work. He's going to have to improve real quick because if he really wants to be about that smoke now, brother, and you in it, it's going to be some pain if you really do try to get in there. Because right now, I don't think that you're really ready. For me, I don't think you're really ready. But now, we done gone through it. We covered everything else. Now let's go with what we all want to talk about, which is Tank Davis. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's time to work. All right. This is the biggest topic. This is the biggest point of the day. This is the biggest thing when discussing the likes of Tank. Going off the words of Timothy Bradley. And let me see. Let me make sure I got the clip right. I should have the clip. Do I not have the clip? Hold on. Wait a minute. No, that ain't it, brother. Where's it? Hold on. Wait a minute. As I'm talking, I'll pull it up. But essentially, while I'm talking through this thing, we had a situation with Tank Davis talking about The words of Timothy Bradley and discussing how Tank is mentally checked out of boxing. As in, we don't need to concern ourselves with him, with us even attempting to try to go through and see him fight against other great big names in this division, because he feels that he's gone. He feels that he's done. He feels that there's nothing else that needs to happen. And so it's like, with off the backs of this, it's just a valid opinion. Now, full disclaimer, I've had my problems with the stuff that Timothy Bradley said. Let's be real. Y'all know me. Y'all definitely know me. Y'all know how I felt about a lot of stuff that Timothy Bradley says when it comes to him talking in boxing. A lot of stuff. And I mean a lot of stuff. Because when it comes to Timothy Bradley, he has said some things that have been incredibly out of pocket, ill-informed, disingenuous, a lot of hating to some degree. And sometimes it's hard, it's difficult to, sometimes it's like, hey brother, what you doing? Let me see, Tim sure does get the YouTube streets buzzing. Yeah, brother, he do. Also, Al Booger, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show. So glad that you're here with us today. Appreciate you rocking with us on this Tuesday afternoon. And it's like like I said, it's a bunch of stuff I don't like about it. But at the same time, he ain't wrong, and he ain't wrong every time. And I think this is one of the situations where he's right. I really do. I really do. And as again, I'm still trying to pull it up, but I really do think that he's right in this regard. That he is right in this regard. Because we have covered this about Tank before, consistently. Mentally, where he's at legacy-wise. And now, Timothy said it, and a bunch of people, let me tell you something, a bunch of people had a big issue with him saying, I mean, a litany of folks were saying, what are you doing? What's your issue? Why are you talking about this man's career? What's wrong with you? Why is it Tank can do what he wants? Tank is able to control his own career. Tank's made all the money. Who's for you? Who are you to say what's going on in his mind? You don't know the man. You ain't him. You don't know his mind. You don't know what he's going through. The people could be lying about him. All this stuff, in ring, out ring, all this mess. Y'all are heaping hate on a brother that doesn't deserve it. That's been the rhetoric when it comes to what we talk about with Gervonta Davis. When this type of statement is said, and it's like the hate for this type of opinion is due to, again, a large part, fanboy. And I don't like using the term, but it's the truth. A lot of times with fanboying, it covers up the sins of what somebody does or what somebody doesn't do. The lack of action that somebody takes place, or the lack of action that somebody, or the lack of restraint in some degrees that people take. It takes hold. To a degree, they apply themselves to that fighter and make it so that, boom, they go through, and now whatever you say hurts them. Whatever you say now transpires, so you're talking about me when you're talking about the fighter. You're talking about my person. You're talking about my ride or die. Now it's like you're talking about my life when you're talking about his life. Now it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. But that's the fact of the matter. It's the truth. It is like that. And it's a shame, in all honesty. But we have to. And again, I don't want to continue to hit the Tank button as means for content. As you know, we cover the boxing world, whatever takes place. We don't try just to rely on just one guy as the means to drive everything. But it's undeniable that he's one of the biggest stars in the sport. And it's undeniable that the fear of what's going to happen once he leaves has started to become apparent for a lot of people. That's irrefutable. This big of a name, all of a sudden, if it is indeed true that this cat is starting to wrap it up, send it home, and be like, nah, I'm done. and it's starting to wind down, there's a level of concern now for a lot of people, both in and outside of the boxing world, financially as well as just from the standpoint of having a barometer of notoriety that's going to be recognized by the public. But here's one of the biggest stars in the world potentially saying, hey, you making a claim that Tank is no longer interested in boxing as a whole, and he is on his retirement run. That's what the statements like that are indeed, they're volatile. I don't see while I'm drinking my coffee. That's a good cup of Joe. Don't mean to do not mean to push the pause button, but he is. We're looking at all of this regarding Tank, and it's like the fear of who Tank is, or rather what he's not trying to be, now speaks to a signal that maybe this brother is indeed getting ready to go, and it's winding down. And we're not going off of Tank. We're not saying this about Tank just because it's Tank or just because it's hate. Let me not say we. I agree with what Timothy Bradley said for this specific instance. Not because of me trying just to hate on Tank, but because of what's been happening over time that we've seen from other fighters in this very same generation that speaks to this being a real concern and a real reality that we may be witnessing when it comes to Gervonta Davis. That's the thing. This ain't just trying to go and read into somebody's head. This is a Tank Davis who is going through and following in the footsteps of other people who have, it's about the money. We wrapping it up. I want a couple big paydays and then I'm done. And then I'm out of the sport. Again, Floyd Mayweather. He was ready to go. And once he broke Marciano, he was looking to break Rocky Marciano's record. That was his main goal. And in his last fight, he didn't take on any competitor. Didn't take on any challenge. He took on Conor McGregor. Got his 50th win and then said, up, I'm done. I'm walking away. I got the money and I got the easiest big fight to stamp the legacy on what is, again, an incredible accomplishment. But that last win, wasn't really hard, was it? Wasn't really against the test, was it? And then he walks off into the sunset like I'm the baddest man in all the land. Now, he was a bad brother, don't get me wrong. But even still, it's not substantively, there's something that was lacking, at least in that last win. Tyson Fury, when he went through the whole saga with Usyk, he was taking easy fight after easy fight. He took on, while Dillian White was finally given an opportunity after being a mandatory for years, he was way over the hill. Way over the hill. By the time he fought against Tyson Fury. Boom. And he won. Then it was going to be that Tyson Fury fought Francis Ngannou, which was a surprise. Didn't even train for it because he thought he was going to beat him easy. And he won that fight. And all the while was given a runaround to Usyk up until the money became apparent, and then bing, bang, boom, finally he got the fight made, and he lost. And now the only person he's coming back to is Usyk, because it is, now mind you, yes, he wants to revenge his loss, but partially because that's the biggest fight pay that he can make. Mind you, he won't fight, he's not fighting, or potentially has been reluctant to even make the fight with Anthony Joshua, and that fight could have been made well in their primes. But it wasn't. That fight could have been made after Anthony Joshua's win, or after Anthony Joshua's revenge against Andy Ruiz. But it didn't happen. We're looking at patterns of people moving about the money and not necessarily trying to take on the biggest of names. And when we look at Tank, it's following in those same footsteps. And don't forget, Let's not forget, I think somebody brought this up earlier. Tank's not rematching Welch. As of right now, yeah. Daryl Anderson. As of right now, that is the looking concern, or that is the seen as reality with Tank Davis. That Roach fight ain't happening. Sadly, it ain't happening.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
It's a shame. It's a shame, but it's not happening. It ain't happening at all. And again, I am still looking for this clip. I got the Ring Magazine article here. Timothy Bradley believes Gervonta Davis is checked out, but I can't find the clip for the life of me. And I don't know why. Hopefully, no, dang it, this ain't taking me to it either. I'm gonna find the clip to be able to play it somewhere down the line. Or somehow, some way. I'm gonna find that clip. But he said, I'll read the quote verbatim. Tank is done. Bradley told the Ring after ESPN's final Top Rank broadcast Saturday night in the theater in Madison Square Garden. Tank hung him up, shoes off, put a plaque up. He's done. When it comes to his boxing ability, Bradley has always been a fan of Baltimore native. More recently, the International Boxing Hall of Famer and former ESPN analyst hasn't liked what he has seen from Tank Davis. Goes on to say point of views, things went south after Tank's early career. 30-year-old champion entered the fight against Lamont Roach, giant favorite, then had a draw. Afterwards, hasn't done anything since. Article goes on to say that and speaks on the things that Bradley has issues with. Going down, Tank is, and quoting now verbatim, Tank is checked out mentally, Bradley said. Tank is mentally gone. Tank is looking for the big bag of Jake Paul, then he's out. I'll see you later. I think he's done. He has a lot on his mind that he wants to do, and he's kind of sick of the sport of boxing. This is the quote that we see Timothy Bradley have. And again, since I can't find the clip, I'll give it to you verbatim. I will give it to you directly here with the article, because it's sad. I wish I could find the clip like I want to, because I know it's there. It had a different level of gravitas to it when he was saying it. Nope, that ain't it. Hold on. Nope, that ain't it. No, stop. Right here. As you can see, Tank is checked out. Again, just read the quote. You agree to yourself, Tank is checked out mentally. Bradley said, Tank is gone mentally. Tank is looking for the big bag, a Jake Paul, then he's out the sport. I'll see you later. I think he's done. Has a lot on his mind that he wants to do. And he's kind of sick of the sport of boxing. We have been tracking this brother, saying these same things for the past year and a half. Has the fight been officially called off? The fight ain't even been, and Al Booger, here's the reality of the situation. The fight was never even officially made. It was never officially made. It was never officially made. It was expected. It was talked about. It was touted. It never even got officially made. We had a date that was set, but it never got officially made in the first place because Tank ain't never signed his side of the deal and still has. Lamont Roach has been saying, yeah, this fight most likely ain't gonna happen. And now it's done. I think the clip is on Fight Club TV. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it since we now have a source. Cause I was doing all this time talking. I was really grinding, trying to find this clip, and I couldn't. For the life of me, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it at all. Let me see. Jody Bradley. Hopefully, it should be. Is this it? Good gosh. Okay, 12 minutes. I don't need all that. Hold on. Now. I need the snippet. I need the snippet. Is this the snippet? I hope. Let me see. This is a snippet. Let me see. Let me make sure.
Tank is done.
Here we go. Okay,
Tank
yep. Here we go. All right. I got it. Yep, I got it. Took me a second, but I got there. Let's pull up the clip so you can see. You can feel his animosity with how he says it.
Hung him up. Tank is done. Tank is hung him up. Shoes off. Get the bag. Put a plaque up. He done. Tank is done. Period.
When you say done, you mean like not fighting anymore?
Tank is checked out mentally. Tank is gone mentally. Tank looking for the big bag. For the big bag of Jake Paul, Pacquiao, something solo, and he's looking to, hey, I'll see you later. Tank is standing. He's not going to fight Shakur Stevenson at all. At all. I don't care how much money Turkey offered, give him 4 Lamborghinis, whatever. Tank ain't taking that fight. Tank is done.
There we go. Okay, yeah, so we got it. So see, that's what I was talking about. And let's be real. Let's have a real, if we're going to have a real conversation, let's have a real conversation. And again, Daryl Anderson, thank you so much for helping me out with the with this whole thing. Also, if you're liking the show, please leave a like on the stream. Go ahead, comment your thoughts and opinions. Keep on. I want to hear your diatribe. I want to hear your conversation. I want to hear from you what you got to say. I really do. This is a collective thing. I want to hear your thoughts. But I agree with this. I genuinely do agree with this whole sentiment. Oh, also share the show. Please keep on sharing the show. And if you want to support, Cash App, PayPal, links in the description as well. But I completely agree with this. He's not going to fight Shakur. He's not going to fight Abdullah Mason. He's not going to fight any of the great fighters of 135. Forget 140. Forget trying to go and fight above your comfortable weight class. Though we've seen you fight at 140 before. And again, Pacquiao just gave a award to Mario Barrios. He can do that. You could definitely go up that high and beat Barrios if you really wanted to. I've been saying you can fight up to 147 at your best if you really tried. But you don't want to try. This is the issue. And again, also, Dub Wingshot, hey brother. What's good? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show. Appreciate you coming through. Salute Jean-Luc and to the chat. Salute to you as well. Appreciate you joining in on today. Please leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. Share the show. If you want to support the channel, we got memes on the screen and in the description. And hey, help us out. We mean the world to us. Pay the bills is how I do it. So it's all thanks to you and your support. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. And hopefully you like what we got going on. And we're still on the last big topic of the day before we go into the championship rounds where you all drive the conversation. No question about it. But real quick, when it comes to Tank Davis, like he is gone as a fighter. And beyond just the fight with Lamont Roach, let's be honest, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. Along with the fight with Lamont Roach right now, if Tank fought Lamont right now, and this is going to be a big jump with how Tank is fighting right now, or how Tank is mentally set right now, which again, I have been saying this about Tank for months and months and months on end. I have said this. This ain't nothing new. What in this situation, what Timothy Bradley is saying ain't nothing new here. Because we've been saying that too. Some people just didn't take us serious. But we were saying this. But with Lamont Roach as well, if Tank fought Lamont Roach right now, Tank would lose. He would lose. If Tank fought Lamont Roach right now, Tank would lose that fight. If Tank fought Shakur Stevenson right now, Tank would lose that fight. If Tank fought anybody competitive right now, he's losing. More likely than not. Because now he is not there. He's not focused, committed, and or driven to want to be in this boxing game any longer. Coming up against the people that are about this life on a constant basis. He's not there. He's gone. I've been saying this for months. But I've been given the benefit of the doubt that, hey, Tank is still Tank from the standpoint of when he gets in the ring, it's about going to work. I've been saying that, but at the same time now, that Tank that I was talking about and this Tank that we're discussing right now, they're not the same fight. They're not the same fight. They're not. And again, this boxing game is 90% mental and 10% physical. You can't, especially at this stage in your career with Tank, at this level of competitive fervor around the division and beyond, you can't go you can't go willy-nilly and just think, I'll be whoever, and they just be just fine. It's not going to be like that no more. Tank, at this version of Tank, would lose to most of the elite at the division. This Tank would have lost to Lomachenko. Definitive. Already, that was a 50-50 fight if they had fought each other at their best. But this Tank now, he loses. I dare say even Isaac Cruz, if he got his rematch and Tank fought with this type of mindset that he's got right now, he loses that fight too. He loses. And it's not because of the ability, it's because of up here. He has been operating in retirement mode. He has been operating with easy paydays and it's time to go. He even lied to himself by saying after the Lamont Roach fight, he got more in the tank. He wants to put on words, more in the tank. But he said he got more in the gas tank. He said that he wants to stay around longer than the end of 2025. Because originally, this year, he was retired. Remember it. He was going to retire this year. He would have had one more fight and then it's done. Oh, excuse me, he said 3 more fights and then it's done. He wanted it. We thought we were going to get the Lamont Roach fight in a month from now. Less than a month from now. It should, August 16th? Brother, we should be less than 30 days away from that fight happening because that was the scheduled date. Now, no longer. That would have been his second fight. And then one more in December, and then he would have been wrapping it up. That's what it was supposed to be for Tank. He said it himself. Now, he reneged on that. We were all happy. He said he was coming back. He said he got more fervor. He lied to himself. He ain't got no more fervor. He ain't got no more fire. He ain't got no more tenacity, no more intensity. He still is a great fighter. But you remember the conversation we've had around Mike Tyson? Part of what happened with the downfall of Mike, though he was at his physical peak, one of the big reasons why he lost against the likes of Evander Holyfield in both situations, or even when he was older against Lennox Lewis, was because mentally he was checked out. Why he lost to Buster Douglas, he was mentally checked out. It wasn't about boxing. His faculties as a fighter were not intact and stabilized. They were able to be shifted and moved. Again, in part due to Don King, that bum of a promoter. But even still, of his own volition, he couldn't keep himself together outside the ring. And inside the ring became more so of an afterthought with how he was operating. Partying, drinking, women, and all this other stuff messed him up. Not saying women are problematic. No, that can be misconstrued by some people. Let's be clear. When I say women, I'm talking about prioritizing, sleeping around, and going through and letting the whims of fame overshadow the need to be stable and concrete in your dedication to the sport. After Custom Auto died, once Don King put his own regime around Tyson to allow for him to not just further indulge, but also to help Don King be able to steal $100 million from the brother. sabotaged from the outside and from internally because he didn't have anybody to help keep him stable, like with Customato and Kevin Rooney and Teddy Atlas. Though we know what happened with Teddy Atlas and him and the daughter situation, the gun and all that stuff. It's a whole big spiel. They made up and apologized, thankfully, but still. All that stuff helped to curate the downfall of what we see with Tank or what we see with Tyson back then in his prime. And now it's a similar pattern where Tank, only difference is one, the actions, and two, he's, well, with domestic violence, we can call him volatile to a big degree. Or excuse me, allegedly, as of right now. Though this is the third time this same offense has come up. So for legal reasons, we'll say allegedly. But even still, there's some stuff that can be inferred with repetition. But that's a whole nother conversation. Regardless of which, this is a situation where Tank has a good team around him, has Calvin Ford, has actual, yes, he may have some yes men that say you can do what you want in terms of how you go about your career. But in terms of dedication to being in the sport, he's got people that are able to keep him engaged. Now it is on Tank specifically. And he himself is shooting himself in the foot. Not his team or lack thereof, which again, in this situation is not a factor. It's him. And he doesn't want to be about the game. And he would lose to Shakur Stevenson. He might lose to Abdullah Mason if Tank is staying like this. And until Tank gets out of that mode, it might be the Jake Paul paydays, the big spectacle paydays, all this stuff may just be the best situation for him. Because if he did indeed fight against these actual competitors, brother, he's not winning. He's not winning.
Hey, look at this. We got the problems here.
He's not winning. There's a real argument. He's not winning these fights. These big time fights. And he already said his ego cannot sustain a loss on his resume. He said that he can't take it. He said that he can't stand it. He said that he's not able to hold himself together. I can paraphrase him, but his pride cannot take a loss of any kind. And so it's like, boy, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but pattern recognition is real. People who don't care about their own, or people that just care about getting what they can and get out, we've seen it before in this very era, let alone in past eras. And so now, if you're following in those same footsteps, we're not trying to hate on your favorite fighter. We're saying that, brother, your favorite fighter is doing the very thing that these other people did. Like what the world? If I saw somebody go through, buy a mask to cover their face, buy a crowbar, get you a bulletproof vest, and also get yourself a getaway car. And then they go out and rob a bank. And I see another person come in there and buy nearly all of the same identical stuff. Is it out of question for me to say, brother, he might be trying to rob a bank? You might want to pay attention to this cat. Am I out of sorts to say somebody may just be doing the same thing over again? Is it out of my mind to assume, or at least have an idea, that we may see the same activity that we saw this other person just walked out the store go and commit? We may see this happen again in the very near future with this other patron who just walked out the store with nearly all the same stuff. Nearly all the same stuff. Only thing he got was a different car, and instead of a crowbar, he got a rope. But everything else is about 1-to-1. But it seems like, though it may be a little bit different circumstances, it seems like the same thing's getting ready to happen. And I don't get why that's so difficult for people to realize. We as fans, at least for me, I wouldn't even say me, I'm just trying to help people understand, brother, if we do not hold Tank's feet to the fire, as we've done with every single other boxer. That's one of the marquee things about this channel. Hold fighters' feet to the fire. Let them be able to feel the whims of the people. We are able as fans to help dictate the course of a fighter's career. If we are able to have a voice loud enough to show where the money would go, what we want to see, and what needs to happen. Usyk versus Joseph Parker is now under negotiations because the people wanted to see it happen. They said Joseph Parker needs his mandatory shot. He's earned it and he deserves it, and now he got it. Or he's in talks to get it right now. Even with the ring not wanting to host that event, or VSC's not wanting to host that event because Turkey Al Sheikh isn't interested, guess what? The fight can still go on, and people can still pay money, and people want to see that fight take place because the people willed it. The people willed it. We have the ability to help mold the careers of what we see with boxers. We do, because we have a voice. Their career is their career. Yes, we are not the fighters. I completely understand that. But we still have a position to help make stuff go. We do. As fans or as pundits, hopefully as experts, whatever you see me as, if I'm in one of those positions, hey, great. It's still the same boat. And when we talk like this against Tank, against Fury, against Canelo, I don't care who it's against. I could care less about your status or how much I like or dislike you as a fighter. I care about you making a move that will validate what you are. And if you have been a Tank fan and have been talking up Tank like he is the greatest thing since sliced bread, I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is then when I come back and say, okay, if he's the best thing since sliced bread, put him against a piece of sliced bread. Put him against something that is comparable. And let's see what he's really about. Put him up against something that is worthwhile as you say he is. And let's see what he can really do. That's all we're saying. And if the brother doesn't want to take the test, is it out of my jurisdiction? Because I don't fight. Because I'm not in the ring. Or because you are a fan that I can't say, hey, wait a minute now. This is a brother who's been able to be at the tops of the boxing world, has been claiming himself to be the face of boxing, has touted himself as being the most lucrative man in the sport over Canelo. Is definitively, yes, one of the three biggest faces in all of the sport. I capitulate that. Now it's challenged because now you got Usyk, now you got Crawford. We got some names now along with Canelo that can challenge you. But still, through all that, he's still deserving of a spotlight. No question. Now we're asking him, hey, brother, if you got this big of a spotlight and somebody else does, share it with them. And let's see who can shine brighter in the spotlight. And he doesn't do that, not because the money's unfair, not because the asking price is out of proportion, not because the stipulations are ridiculous, not because somebody is too much of a big weight advantage against you, not because the weight class is too high, but just because they are a challenger, a legit challenger. You don't take the test. Well, hey, brother, if everything else seems to be in line and you don't do it of your own will, as you said, you do what you want. Only thing we can say is, hey, maybe you aren't as good as we think you are. And maybe you are trying to just retire because you don't feel like, one, trying to prove yourself. And two, if you lost, it would destroy you. It would destroy you. I have said this before. A loss to Tank won't just destroy the fans of Tank. It will destroy Tank. It will destroy Tank. As L. Spence Jr., as volatile as that loss was to Terrence Crawford, we saw his fans go through conniptions after that performance. A near depressive state was Spence fans after that fight with Terrence Crawford. I kid you not. I remember. I mean, people were dead silent, walking around with their head down. I mean, just wallowing in pain because they were really buying in that Spence was the end-all be-all. And when he lost, hurting the kingdom come. But then, what happened? They were eventually able to bounce back. And Spence, right now, seemingly, is going to come back hopefully soon, though it's been upwards of a 3-year layoff. Hopefully he comes back soon, but even then, he's enjoying life outside the ring. But as distraught as his fans were, Tank himself, if he loses, brother, it's gonna be so bad for him specifically. It's gonna be so bad for him specifically. It is going to be monumental levels of pain for himself individually. Because again, as what he has perpetuated, not us reading into stuff, what he has said himself exemplifies means that a loss for Tank would be the end of Tank in his boxing career. Period. It would be done. And him risking that level of ridicule, shame, being made fun of like all of his fans had done to every other boxer in the sport, regardless of era, regardless of resume, regardless of weight class. If he loses, brother, that mirror is about to magnify him like a doggone death beam. It is about to be such a pinpoint, destructive, vitriolic tunnel of this damage that will pinpoint on Tank specifically. I guarantee that Tank, after that loss, he'll be like, I'm done. Because he's already sick of the sport. He's already sick of the politics. Though, again, he's be able to control those politics. Now, if he gets a loss like that, it's out the pasture. It's out to pasture, excuse me. That we're going to take Tank. Because it's going to be, he's done. That would be the most destructive thing. But if that is where we're going, and if he's already thinking about or operating in a manner of retirement, well, guess what that means? Brother, get it over with then. If you're really about this retirement, go ahead and at least have your last fight. If you're scared you're going to lose and you don't want to deal with that and you're going to say, I'm done, well, then do it against somebody that's worthwhile. Because you might just win. Who knows? You might just get the victory. Who knows? You might just pull it out. Who knows? And then if you do that, you'll beat other people. Because, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I was able to handle these other big threats that are right on my level. Let me do it again. Let me do it again. Next thing you know, you extend your career because all of a sudden you see you are worth your own hype. Outside of just talking about it. It's just, it's so frustrating, this buddy. He can do so much, but he refuses to do anything. And I'm telling you, it's going to hit him bad. It's going to hit him bad. Let me see. I've ignored your chats for so long. Let me keep on reading. Welch deserves a rematch. Yes, he does. No question about it. I don't like those excuses. They lose because they fought a better boxer. That's plain and simple. Again, excuses are different. I'm not saying Tyson didn't lose. He did lose to Holyfield. Absolutely. He did in fact lose to that. But we also understand that context provides a lot as to help tell the story of why what went down. Again, this wasn't the in the ring, somebody cheated and lied and boom, it happened. We just recognized, okay. So the drop off of Tyson went earlier than most other boxers in his prime because mentally he wasn't there where he needed to be. And once he checked out fully and he could never get back to it. on top of with Don King. But still, it's his responsibility to win the fight. And he lost the fight. He lost to Douglas when he shouldn't have. He lost to Holyfield when I think he would have been able to beat him. But he didn't keep himself where he needed to be. So, there's no excuse. He still, what happened, happened. Absolutely. But context just helps paint the picture. But let me see. Your boxing knowledge is at the highest level. Hey, man, real deal. Hey, brother. How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hopefully you think I'm doing good or I'm saying something right. And it's like and you enjoying the time. I hope that knowledgeable. There's plenty of people that know more than me. I'm just giving you what I know, absolutely, but I appreciate it nonetheless. And again, I want to hear from you all, your opinions and thoughts on this whole situation. Do you think that Tank is checked out? Do you think that Tank is somebody who we're reading into too much? Do you think that all this stuff is unfair on the side of Gervonta Davis? And do you think that this is a situation where we are indeed over-impeding on the boundaries of what goes on internally versus just in the ring? I want to hear from you all absolutely on this topic. Let me see. He's doing this on purpose because he has nowhere to run, wants to avoid the toughest competition. Now, see, and guess what? If that's the case, then he should be stripped. If that's the case, he should be stripped. If that's the case, he should be stripped of a title. He should not be WBA champion. If that is indeed the real deal, which is perfectly fine, he should be stripped of the WBA title. He is currently still the WBA title holder. And since Lamont Roche is not defending it and he ain't even fighting the mandatory. Mind you, it is either Shakur Stevenson or Abdullah Mason who is the mandatory for his belt. On top of Lamont Roche, who deserved a rematch. And I think it's still owed a rematch. So he's got 3 people sharing positions of the number 1 contender. He's got, in his own division, Shakur Stevenson ranked above him, who is a champion. And people ranked below him that have no belts that have done more. He still has not fought anybody since gaining the title from, or defending the title, after receiving it from the belt commission themselves. Because again, when David Haney went up, moved up to 140, belts got relinquished, belts got spread out. Tank became the belt holder of the WBA title by it being bestowed on him by the WBA themselves, not having to fight for it. Defended it against Frank Martin. Knocked out Frank Martin. Great. Didn't do nothing after. He should be stripped if he's not going to fight at this level against people that deserve opportunities, or even against number 1 ranked contenders, which there are a plethora of, like with Floyd Schofield, who knocked out Tevin Farmer. Hey, that's a great fight I would love to see. That's a phenomenal fight. I would love to see. Even a unification fight with Abdullah Mason, do something with the belt, but you haven't. You ain't even announced nothing. The closest thing you were going to announce was Jake Paul. And now it looks like Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. But you could do something, but you haven't done anything. If you're not going to do something, you should be stripped of a title. No question about it. It's no question about it. Let me see. Yo, MS, what's good with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Let me see what you got to say. Tank morale dropped after that loss to Roach. Reese in my eye. Yeah, man, it's like, he, if that is the, I'm going to ask you this. If that is the last memory that we have of Tank, hypothetically, if he retired today, let's say hypothetically Tank retired today. If that was the last memory that we had of Tank Davis, that he drew to Lamont Roach and he lost, and he should have lost that fight, and he goes on to do nothing else, will that stain everything else that happened previously in his career? Will it stain the Pedraza fight? Will it stain the Leo Santa Cruz fight? Will it stain the Isak Cruz fight that also did not get a rematch? Will it stain the weight drain and injury fight that was against Ryan Garcia? Will it stain it? Because I feel like it would. Because if they start, because here's the thing, they start bringing up technicalities in terms of The brother took a knee in that fight. He should have lost that fight. All of a sudden, that digs up all the other stuff that happened in all the other fights that he was in. Pedraza, he did not want that fight. Floyd made that fight for Tank. And Tank felt that Floyd Mayweather was trying to sabotage him. Don't forget that. Leo Santa Cruz, he brought up from multiple weight classes. And still, it was a phenomenal fight. Still, it was a great fight. That's impressive on Leo Santa Cruz's part. But he didn't fight him on an even playing field. Though he keeps on saying he doesn't want to fight above his weight class. But he'll bring people up from above their weight class. But he fought him. And he knocked him out. He did it. But still, those contexts start becoming more weighty. If this indeed is the last member. Ryan Garcia, weight drain, no rehydration clause, injury also to the ribs that they knew about. Knocks him out. Does what he's supposed to do. But still, we see what happens. Context, could have rematched him at 140. Before that, Isaac Cruz, you should have rematched him. Especially how close that fight was, even though you had a hand injury. Yet you still did not. He went on to keep on accomplishing great stuff, but still the brother didn't. You still could have rematched Isaac Cruz immediately, and it would have made financial sense. It would have made spectacle sense. It would have helped your cachet still, and it would have not only helped further solidify a new star in Isaac Cruz, but if you knock him out the second time round, brother, that's all the more impressive. Especially after what we, especially with what we see Isaac Cruz do after Tank. Would have been great. And just like with Lamont, he deserved a rematch for that fight. And you didn't give it to him then. Context-wise, you then are acting in the same way that you're acting now with Lamont, which is sketchy. Very sketchy. You fight Frank Martin, and I have no issue with that. Incredibly impressive. Good fighter. If somebody, if you beat him, I put you in my top 10 pound for pound with beating Frank Martin. You weren't in it before. You got in it then. Because, okay, that laid the groundwork for that, followed the pattern of consistency in terms of talent perspective in the boxing ring that you're supposed to fight. I had no issue. And then you go back and you do nothing afterwards. Now you're running again like the Furies or like you did against Isaac Cruz, and it's all problematic, and we can only come to one conclusion. Brother, you don't deserve to be in the pound for pound. You're not a pound for pound fighter. Though your talent should be there, you haven't done anything to deserve it. And you can't say that you're the face of this sport when you operate as the face that does nothing at all. You can't do that. Because if you do, you are going to mess yourself. Or excuse me, let me rephrase it. You can't operate as the face of, you can't be the face of boxing and not fight like the face of boxing. Now, some people say, well, Canelo ain't fighting like the face of boxing because he's running from Dave Benavidez. True. Though he is fighting Terrence Crawford. You're right. Outside of Terrence, the last 5 fights have not been impressive at all. Have not been against people that deserve to be in the ring with you from the standpoint of who needed to be there. I get it. But even still, Canelo at least had the track record of the 60 fights before the last 5 that he's been in were against people that were on or above his level, or at least deserved to be in the ring. Whether it was Amir Khan, Miguel Cotto, Floyd Mayweather, Lara, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, names that I'm missing. Danny Jacobs. Like, we can go through the list of people. Undisputed in 2 weight classes, multi-division, unified, or just reigning champion. The resume at least backs up, I got to this face of boxing because of what I did. I get no issue with that. We can say that he's losing ground. We can't say that he still isn't there because he did so much in the past. We can't say that. We can't say Canelo's lost his spot yet. Because the work that he did previously was so deep. It was better than it still is a better resume than every other boxer in the world today. From a depth perspective, it is. It is. It's better than it is better than anyways. It is better than the Usyks, who though they've been on an incredible run, it's just deeper, longer, and has had more legitimate names just laden throughout it. That's just the reality. That's not me trying to hate. That's just the reality. He earned that right to be called the face of this sport. Tank hasn't. Though he got the moniker, or a portion of the moniker. He didn't deserve it. Didn't deserve it at all. Because he did not do the work. Now, everybody's starting to see when a facade starts to lift, all of a sudden everybody sees, oh, we are in quicksand. We're not on a solid foundation. We are in trouble. We need to get off of this ship now, or we're going to sink to the bottom. Because it's nowhere close to as sturdy as we thought. That's what Tank's reign as one of the pinnacles of the sport is. And it's a shame. It really is just a shame. And it's like, again, all this could have been avoided. We just took the test, but yet sadly, he didn't. Tank is having a Rocky 3 moment. Yes, he is. No, yes, he is. Oh, my gosh. Yes, he is. And I hate that I'm watching. I hate that I'm watching this buddy go through this. Let me see. How was the Roach fight a draw when Tank lost? And again, officially, it was a draw. Officially, it was a draw. And again, I had Tank losing. If the knee had been counted, definitely would have lost. Even without the knee. Still, I had it so that Lamont had him by at least, had him by 1 round. Like I said, it was close. But he had him by 1 round on my card. Without the knockdown. With the knockdown, it was clean sweep. Absolutely. Let me see. Yo, what's going on, Ninja? What's good, brother? How you doing? Thanks for the show. So glad that you're here with us on today's facts, man. I appreciate you agreeing. Why did he say no to the Pitbull rematch that made him look super weak? In my book, yes, it did. Again, he said no, and it got completely overlooked. He said no, and guess what the excuse was? He doesn't need to rematch Isaac Cruz. He's got bigger fish to fry. That was literally the thing. He doesn't need the whole facade with Tank with that Isaac Cruz fight. You don't need to rematch Isaac Cruz again. You beat him. You beat him with a broke hand, which he did. But he beat him with a broke hand. Now, why give him another shot? We got bigger moves to make. Ain't that just the strangest thing? We got bigger moves to make. As the reason why you didn't rematch Isaac Cruz. And then you go and you fight Ryan Garcia, and then you do nothing else afterwards. You make one move, and then you go worse than Isaac Cruz outside of Frank Martin for the majority of your career afterwards. So you don't really elevate, but yet that was the excuse. We got bigger things to do. Now, what's the excuse? What's the excuse? What bigger things do you have to do now? What bigger aspects of your career do you need to expound on that you're actually going to commit to? Because again, you got 5 of them. You got Schofield, you got 3 of them off rip. Schofield, Shakur, and then Abdullah Mason, if you wanted to go that route to become a champion. 140, you got Keyshawn Davis. And Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez, and Ryan Garcia at 140. Shoot, you even got Evoli Romero, who looks better than when he fought against you, who gave you a bunch of trouble in your first time out before you knocked him out. You got names. You got people in and outside of your division. You just have to take the initiative. But you don't want to. Because you say you're too big to fight these people. But then you say, you can't expect me to fight people above my weight class. I'm comfortable here. But then you say, we got bigger fish to fry. But then you say, I can do what I want because I'm the face of boxing. Which one is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? Because right now, it's looking like a whole bunch of nothing. It's looking like a whole bunch of nothing. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. I don't get it. Yet it is still a constant thing. Canelo got a nice resume. Yes, he does. Canelo 5 years younger than Usyk with 70 fights. Huge levels. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It is insane. It's incredible. It's impressive. We want to see more careers like that. Absolutely, if we can. But my gosh, just like it's a problem with Canelo now, it's a problem with Tank. It's a problem with Tank. You got to be able to live up to what your status is if you're going to claim to be what you are. And if you can't do that, we should not be held in spite or in a villainous type of gallery for calling you out with stuff that you should be already doing way further without us having to push you. It shouldn't be like that. It should not be like that, especially with the age and how much you have legitimate ability to be able to go and beat a lot of these names. You should be able to take initiative. But it's your problem. It's your fault. You're too scared to lose. That's the only conclusion we can come to. You are too scared to lose. Because it ain't jail time that's keeping you out of fighting because you've done it with jail time. You just may be with your last situation. And ain't that the money ain't right because it is. It ain't that the names ain't there because they are. It ain't that the fans won't pay because they will. It ain't that promoters won't give you what you want because they would. Like with Turkey Al Sheik, you just don't want to fight. It's plain and simple. You just don't want to fight. Why is Tank managed so badly? He should be $100 million in the bank. And actually, this is the perfect segue to go into championship rounds. Real quick before I answer this question, we're in the championship rounds now. So whatever you want to talk about and discuss, we can discuss it right now. I want to hear from you on whatever topics you want to discuss, whether it's Tank or otherwise. I want to hear what you have to say. No question about it. And I want to hear your voice, the voice of the people. That you all drive the show for the next 30 minutes to an hour. Y'all drive this conversation, no question about it. And I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. But to answer this question, Tank is not managed badly. Tank is moving badly. There is a difference. There is a difference.
Hey,
There's a big difference.
we got some problems here.
There's a big mismanagement is mismanagement is when your team sets you up for failure. That's mismanagement. Edgar Berlanga was mismanaged by how he moved through his career. He was. Also, his own fault because he didn't get himself right like he needed to be able to be ready for these types of big moments. We've seen fighters in the past mismanaged poorly. We've seen fighters in the past managed greatly. Dubois, up until Usyk, was managed perfectly to build up his resume and to build up his confidence to get him back to a crescendo of, hey, I'm where I need to be as a fighter, which is what got him to be able to beat and knock out Anthony Joshua. Great management. Absolutely. Mismanaging is when people ask for more than they're worth or push themselves out of opportunities to fight, which is ridiculous. Tank has not been mismanaged, though. Tank has had control ever since he became his own fighter. Without under Floyd Mayweather, Tank has been able to have a direct say in every single fight he's in. And he has made hundreds of millions of dollars or close to it because of these career moves. He has operated his career like a business. Minimum risk, maximum gain. He is, without having a big name on his resume outside of Ryan Garcia, he is still touted as the most lucrative fighter or one of the most lucrative fighters in boxing today. He can still fight anybody and it draws immensely. Because he has been managed very well to be created as this mythical figure that everybody wants to see because they buy into the charisma and the power that Tank brings to the table. They do. He can make money fighting a bum. He still does. He plays probably closer to $100 million than we may realize in terms of collective career earnings. The issue is, though, A lot of that is all by his own say. And now that aspect of his career path has now started to dry up. Notice, the crescendo of that career path was when he fought against Ryan Garcia. And it was one of the biggest gates in boxing history, with the Floyd Mayweathers, the Tyson Holyfield fights that we've seen in the past. It reached that zenith. But he never got close to that afterwards. He never did. It takes two to tango, right? It takes two to make a big fight. It takes two to make it so that you can reach that level of big time money and stardom for one payday. Tank has a plethora of viable options that can make big bank with you fighting them. It can. You just ain't fighting. That's the thing. It's your fault now more than anything else. If he just chose to do it, he would be able to make all the money he would want and more. But he doesn't, because he won't take the risk. He won't, because it's his own problem. It's not management that's the issue. It's him. Because he has a direct say of yes or no. Are we or are we not fighting this? He said it himself. So he could make the fight. He could fight Schofield today if he wanted to, but he won't. He could fight Lamar Roach today if he wanted to, but he won't. And it's a shame. Canelo only a couple of years older than Tank. Yes. Or than Tank. Yeah. Canelo's what, 34? Maybe 36? Crawford's 38. Tank is what, 32, 31, somewhere around those lines. Tank is in the prime. Anyway, I believe, if I have my age correctly, if I got my age correctly, in a way, is what, 31 years old? I believe. In a way, it's 32. Tank is 30. In a way, he's 32 years old. Gervonta Davis is 30 years old. He's going to be 31 this year. Tank is 30 years old. I repeat, Tank is 30 years old. In a way, he's 32 years old. But in a way, it's conquered almost 4 weight classes. In a way, it's become 2-time undisputed and cleaned the house of both divisions, looking to go and fight the best 118 pounder next year, and then potentially fight Bam Rodriguez. Or excuse me, he potentially will fight Junto and then fight Bam and then move up to 126. Hypothetically fight Nick Ball. If he goes for undisputed, fight Nick Ball, rematch Stephen Fulton, fight Espinoza, then fight Angelo Lee. And Bruce Carrington. All that could be in the window. Again, Inoue's 32. Tank is 30. But Tank Boots has as many fights as Gervonta Davis. And Boots is 28 years old. Boots has both taken and defended titles more than Tank has in his entire career. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Jerron Ennis is 30-0. Almost 30 KOs. And has done nearly as much accolade-driven work as we've seen with Tank Davis. And Boots is not even in his prime yet. He's reaching it. He's 28. It's now we're saying it's go time. It's now time to start making your place, stamping your claim, moving through the ranks of boxing at 154. We're saying it's time to move because your best years are now officially here at 28. Tank is 30. And his best win is against Ryan Garcia. And he's gotten 2 belts in his entire career. They only fought for one of them. I don't understand why the outrage has not been more abundant for people to say, what are you doing? And why are we letting this man be able just to rob the public blind of substance and money by doing nothing but do nothing? That's literally all he's doing. His only action is inaction and fighting off of the hype that he is a great fighter. That's it. That's literally it. And it's so frustrating because you can be more. Or at least show us that you got something, but you ain't. And it's odd. It's so frustrating. Anyway, it's 32 and it's more than Tank. It's crazy work. It ain't crazy work. Like, you got to understand. Y'all got to understand. Yeah, let this, understand this. Understand this. Tank, in a way, is moving like boxers of the past. At 28 years old, brother, you were supposed to be this dominant. You were supposed to be this advanced. This type of consistent, outright cleaning house. You're doing everything. You're gaining titles. You're fighting all the big names. This is what was supposed to happen. The Durants, the Haglers, the Hearns, the Leonards, the Listons, the Alis. 28, brother, that's there. You there. If you ain't got this type of resume or something close to it, where you've gotten some legitimate accomplishments, brother, you were looked at as a failure. Or like you're wasting time. Why are we spending time harping on you? It makes no sense. It should not be a shock. Devin Haney has more that he's done in his career than Tank Davis. That's just a bold-faced truth. I think Haney's younger than Tank, or at least around the same age. Both in the same weight class. Gervonta Lopez has done the same thing. Abdullah Mason right now has nearly caught up to Tank's entire resume. Just by winning a title. Keyshawn Davis, if he fights at 140, would have done something that Tank would never do. Gotten titles and retained and defended titles at both 135 and 140. Though again, the whole Leo Santa Cruz situation. We get that. But still. On the road to potentially doing more. Usyk, done more. Benavidez, done more. Crawford, done more. Spence, done more. And he's up a bygone era. Pacquiao right now has done more than what Tank has done over the last 5 years of his career because he at least came back and fought against a champion immediately. And but now he's back in the sport. Don't let me see Manny Pacquiao all of a sudden have a better late stage career in a comeback tour in terms of quality opposition than we see Tank at 32. Don't let that happen. My gosh, don't let that transpire. Because, brother, that would just be a spit in the face. From Tank to us, the boxing public. Don't let that happen. Oh, gosh, that would be so ridiculous. Haney wouldn't even fight. Haney wouldn't even fight Devin Haney. Tank. Oh, Tank won't even fight Devin Haney. Tank angered so many ducking. Yes, he has. Absolutely. No question. Haney, Tank, Shakur should have already fought already. See, we, and again, like I said, I don't want this just to be a Tank episode. Again, it is still the championship rounds. I want to hear from you all what you have to say in the world of boxing and beyond. This is still your show. Don't forget, it's still your time to shine. If you haven't already, hit the like on the stream. Share this show with everybody you can. Get everybody invested in the conversation. I want to hear what you all got to say on this topic and beyond. And I don't want it to just be about Tank. I understand. We don't want to beat a dead horse. But like, you all are seeing where I'm coming from. When looking at this whole situation with Gervonta Davis, it does not do me any good to talk about this with Tank. Because if we're talking, because listen, and also we got more people chatting real quick. Hold on, wait a minute. Gervonta Lopez done more. Yes, he has, absolutely. All four of them, Haney, Shakur, Tank, NTO, were the original four kings of boxing at the lightweight division, and they should have been fought each other. It should have already happened. They all moved up together. They all did. Tank could have been right there with them, but he didn't. And it's like, and I'm going to say this. As long as we keep having these Gervonta Davis discussions, I guarantee this sport is going to be stagnated. I promise you. I promise you. As long as we keep having it. As long as we keep having these same discussions or this discussion around Gervonta Davis, to the degree that we've seen with discourse online, we are never going to overcome the somewhat, though it's been better, the somewhat stifled growth in the sport. Tank Davis is a signifier. Tank Davis is the biggest issue wrong with boxing today. Or rather, that's been wrong with boxing for a decade. But Rolly, yep, you're absolutely right. Rolly and Ryan, they've had more gumption. They have fought. Most boxers have more unction, more gusto, more drive to chase greatness than Tank. Most of them do. And again, Tank from an early stage was already at the top of the mountain from a standpoint of acclaim and ability. But at the same time, his cachet now is topped off because he can't go no higher unless he faces off against people that got their own kingdom. But Tank is a signifier, or Tank is a lasting, or excuse me, let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase all it. Gervonta Davis is the last pillar of the old guard of boxing that we have in the sport today. From the standpoint of a prime example of how this sport ruined itself because of stuff like this. Tank is what was wrong with Floyd Mayweather. Tank is what was wrong with boxing in the 2000s, or rather in the 2010s. Tank is what was wrong with the Floyd Pacquiao fight. Tank is what was wrong with the Fury and Joshua fight in the 2010s. Tank is the biggest signifier of everything about that era that is, and still, okay, yeah, just trying to make sure my camera's straight. Tank is a consistent signifier of the very things that was wrong with boxing when it lost all of its luster in the early 2010s. For the decade plus that boxing had been around, and it had just been stagnated and just lost luster with people. It was problematic. And it was because of the model that Tank is doing right now perfectly signifies what's going on and what's wrong. Perfectly does. Not fighting anybody. Willingly trying to wait for the biggest opportunity. Waiting for the perfect time to fight somebody. Only fighting people that are of the biggest caliber instead of everybody under the sun that is in that same elite tier. Now, just like with what happened with that 2010s era of boxing, Tank is falling by the wayside too, and it's starting to be forgotten just like that era. And we're starting to not waste time trying to see what he's going to do anymore. We're no longer trying to wait around to see what fight's going to happen. We want to see something substantive, action take place. We're following Abdullah Mason. We're following Floyd Schofield. We're following Shakur Stevenson. Don't let all three of them fight each other within the next 2 years. Connect after that, brother. Oh, that's all we needed. We get a lightweight division that squabbles up. It's done. It's done. That is the only thing that we need. That is the only thing that we need now to fully put this Tank situation to rest. Get Schofield, Mason, Shakur all to fight each other. Make that fight happen. That's it. That's it. That's literally all we need. Because then that would satisfy the very thing that we lacked with Tank and lacked with that Four Kings era when they didn't face off against each other like they should have. The best of the best and some of the biggest of names that have made an impact on this sport come through, fight each other, fight the other person who's also competitive, the people that are rematching going through and fighting each other, or the people that lost, they fight each other, then try to fight the winner again. And then everybody moves up because they're all young and getting bigger. Once that happens, yeah, we're done. Tank is officially not a factor because now he's out of the equation. Now Tank is the odd man out. Well, normally he was the only man in the room. That's the truth. That's the truth. Let me see. Everyone moved on fighting everybody. Tank is the last of the boxer. Yeah. That mentality of how boxing should be approached. That's the last of it. Even Devin Haney, but he ain't moving like Tank. You can say you don't like Devin Haney. You can say you think he's gonna get knocked out by Brian Norman Jr., which again I firmly believe. I firmly believe that. But he's not gonna be. But we're looking at a man who, brother, he is going to. He is at least fighting everybody that is relevant and taking on these tests without any sort of remorse. He's got a better resume, win, lose, or draw. He's got a better resume than Tank Davis. And the same, mind you, they got almost the same amount of fights. Tank and Devin Haney have almost the same amount of fights. And look at what's been transpiring. It's just a shame. It's just a shame. It really is. Listen, it's a boxing crime. He never fought Lomachenko. It really is. And he could have. When he left Floyd Mayweather Promotions and became his own promoter, during that Hector Garcia window, he could have fought Lomachenko. We did a video on this. Like a year and a half ago. During that Hector Garcia window, when he fought Hector Garcia, he could have fought Lomachenko instead. He could have. He genuinely could have. It lined up perfectly that he could have gotten that fight in. He could have made that fight with Lomachenko. No question about it. And then we could have gotten Lomachenko. We could have gotten potentially Devin Haney versus Tank for the undisputed title. Hypothetically. We could have. But we didn't. All because Tank is Tank. And it's a shame. Has Fulton done more? Let's see. Fulton was almost on the pound for pound list. He was the best bantamweight in the world. He was the reigning champion. And I think he had gone through it and fought Figueroa in a war, an outright war that was controversial, defended the belt, and he just got a title again at 126, or excuse me, rematch. He got a title, beat Figueroa, and dominated him before the entirety of the fight. Is now a two-division champion, won both belts inside the ring, beating the title holder. Again, the biggest name, and he fought Naoya Inoue. It's close. Hey, it's close. You can make an argument. Fulton has gone about his career doing better than Tank. Because he's two-division champion, fought the best at that point in time, the best fighter in the world in any way. And even then, right now, there's still an argument, but he might, in many people's eyes, he might be the best of all time. It's either him, Usyk, or Crawford, whatever order you may put him in. But that point, anyway, was number two, definitively, or number one. And Fulton faced off against him as champ, while being definitively the best in the division. There was nobody better than Stephen Fulton at 118. Not one person at bantamweight. There wasn't one. Oh, excuse me, super bantamweight. Not bantamweight, super bantamweight. I apologize. But there wasn't a brother better. There was And he took on that test. Then went to Figueroa, first fight at 126, and beat him. Yeah. He's done more. He's done more than Tank. Yes, he has. He's done more than Tank. Or at least as much, which it shouldn't be the case at all. But it should. I got no hate for Haney. Shout out to him and be like, hey, man, yeah, exactly. Like again, you may not like them as people. You may not like them as a boxer. But you can't say that they ran. You can never say that they go out the way and do nothing. Like, they do what they do. That's the thing. We can never go against that. And also, I think there was something I wanted to say in regard to Devin Haney as well. I saw something. Let me see if I can, hold on, wait a minute. I saw something. I think this just hit me. I saw something with the Norman and Haney fight. What was it? Hold on. Wait a minute. Where is it at? Nope, that ain't it. Shoot. I can't find it. I saw something in regards to Devin Haney and Brian Norman. I am trying to see it. I can't. What was that clip? What was that clip? Let me see. Hold on. Let me search it. It was Brian Norman talking about Devin Haney. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it. Real quick. Don't want to stagnate. Is this? I think. Let me see if this is a clip. Is this a clip?
Okay. Now with that, why is everybody he fight small?
There it is. Yep. This is the one. I had to make sure. Yeah, this is the one. Let me pull it up right here, right now for y'all. This was an interview that Brian Norman had recently with, I think, Mike Coppinger, in regarding the fight with Devin Haney that's coming up.
And I saw Devin Haney. You guys got into it a little bit. He called you small.
Okay. Now with that, why is everybody he fight small? And I have no experience. I have no this and I have no that. Why you fight me then? You feel me? I don't deserve to fight you. In your book. So it's like, why you fight me then? You don't deserve no credit for this. Everybody you say is too smart, they too this and too that. Why you fighting these guys then? Who is eligible enough to fight you? Right. Who is eligible enough to fight you? That's how I feel about it. So now, on the flip side of it, Devin Haney, he is an eligible fighter in my book. Former undisputed champion, came up, beat Regis Prograis as well. So he got a great Lomachenko on his resume. Even if y'all say he may have lost that fight, it was still close. So it's the great Lomachenko, and it was still close, even if you say he may have lost. So it's just like big ups to him. And now, trying to take your head off, Shawty.
And I saw Devin Haney. You guys got into it a little bit.
There you go. And so I had to make sure I got that clip because I did not want to forget it. But off the backs of that, that's something that I've been asking as well. And it was in the back of my mind. I didn't really know how to put it into words. But this is a perfect point to excuse me. This is the perfect situation to bring up this question. Who, in fact, would fit Devin Haney's build of not being too small to fight him if everybody that he fights, he says, is too small? And does this further implicate that he has been able to win a lot of his fights due to him having a physical size advantage in nearly every aspect, and when he doesn't have that advantage, all of a sudden he's vulnerable? Does this help that case? Clearly. At least in you all's opinion. Let me see. 1,000% Brian Norman Jr. Yep, I think he's going to, again, I think he's going to beat Devin Haney. I think he's going to beat him. But a lot of these fights, I will have to say, he has said, brought up a good point. Devin Haney's called everybody that he fights too small. And the one time he fought against somebody that wasn't, like with Ryan Garcia, all of a sudden it was a competitive affair. If not, he got beat. Now, granted, he went through, got PEDs, I get it, overturned, understandable. But just by the standpoint of ability, all of us, or physical ability, it seems like he is a product of being, as I've said before, overarchingly bigger than every one of his opposition. And is that why he didn't want to fight Boots at 154? Is that why he turned down the fight with Boots at 154? Though, catch weight 152 was what was also stated. And he didn't fight him there. Could it be that, yeah, he has been taking on these people, and it is, as a size perspective, he wants that physical advantage over a lot of people because he just naturally is a bigger person. But if, in fact, we see Brian Norman Jr. go through and be what I think he's going to be and be the physical dominating person in this fight, causing the likes of Devin Haney to not be able to have that size advantage, or at least a strength advantage that we like to see him have, or that he likes to have on a consistent basis. Now, could a repeat of Ryan Garcia happen? At least in you all's opinion. But let me see what you guys say. Devin Haney is a middleweight. Yes, he is, but yes, absolutely. He has came into fights at 160. He's came into fights at 165. Shoot, one fight, it was speculated he came in at 180. Again, how true that is, I'm not sure. But we've known this brother comes in to fight as a mega type of person. A huge brother when it comes to fighting this division. It's true. It's the truth. And so, it further buys into the whole situation that this cat is a product of being able to being able to win with physical advantages being his best situation. Either he's bigger, he's faster, or he's outright stronger and has a longer reach. And those are things that have made his boxing ability be so detrimental for so many years. But if you can match that, next thing you know, boom, you got yourself a brother who might not be as nearly or as dominant as he normally is, because one of those aspects now is taken away. But let me see. It kills me when fighters talk down on their opponents. Like, why would I watch a fight if the guy is a bum? I mean, it's all to get into the minds and the heads of the opponent. Absolutely. It's all to make them feel that they aren't really anything. It's all mental games. No question about it. Now, I've been saying, promoters can always do a better job of making it so that we see clearly the trash talk discourse be separate from the promotional actual way to the fight if they do their job correct. Oftentimes they regulate it to the fighters are the ones that make the fight grandiose or not. And so if the fighter says somebody's small, then that is just the thing that runs, instead of promoters doing their job saying why this fight is incredibly competitive. Even if you are a promoter that's saying this guy's going to win, if you make every fight feel like a big fight, next thing you know, when every winner that person gets a better appeal. It does. But that's on most of the promoter side. But as a fighter, of course they're going to say that somebody's too small or that somebody can't hang, because you ain't on my level. That's how they feel. So everything about you is nothing compared to me. So of course they're going to demean them and say that they ain't worth nothing, because it's get into your head. That's what they want to do. And it's, he clearly, I thought he cleanly lost to Lomachenko. I definitely did. I think that if Lomachenko was bigger, I guarantee you, the work that he was doing on the inside would have been more apparent, because he did better work on the inside after Devin Haney was doing great work to the body in the first half of the fight. Lomachenko was winning the second half of the fight. I can guarantee you that Devin Haney may have won round 12, but it was enough rounds in between that Lomachenko won. They was he should have had that. Let me see. I got Haney. Oh, you got Haney winning that fight. Haney winning the fight with Loma. Though Loma either won it or it was a tie. I'm not mad at you saying, or anybody saying, that Haney won. Again, it was close, like Brian Norman said. But I feel that he did enough in terms of Lomachenko to win that fight. But I think if Lomachenko was bigger, if Lomachenko was the size of a Teofimo Lopez, I firmly believe that it would have been a clear-cut win. I firmly believe that. Only because his work would have been more easily seen. and not having to work around as hard, or not having to have as much of a time trying to work around the length and the height of Devin Haney. He would have been able to box even more fluently, though again, he is a phenomenal boxer. And if it was old school 15 rounds, yeah, he would have won that fight going away with how the fight was going as it kept on getting later and later and later. Oh, no, I was talking about Haney. Oh, shoot. Oh, excuse me. So sorry. No, I was talking about Haney versus Brian Norman. I got Haney in there. Now, I want to hear why. Now, this is interesting. Hold on now. Wait a second. Wait a minute. This is some controversy. This is some controversy. This is new. I want to hear this. Dare we hold this? Dare we hold this conversation for tomorrow? You know what? We got some time. We still got about 10 minutes left in the show. 5-10 minutes left. We want to go to like what? Is it 2 hours 30? Yeah. We'll try to go about 2:30. I want to hear this. And does anybody else have this same predicament? Have this same situation? In fact, I can do a poll. I can do a poll. I'm doing a poll. Oh yeah, we're doing a poll. We're doing a poll. We're gonna let me pull a poll up on this. I'm gonna pull a poll up on this. Here we go. We just put a poll up. I can't wait to see these results. We got a poll up, Haney versus Norman. Since we got some differentiating opinions, let's talk about it right now. Let's see who wins this fight. And put your votes in the thing, because I want to see what y'all got to say. Let me see. Hey, Zach, what's good with you, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for this show. So glad that you're here with us on today. Again, we're in the championship rounds. Like I said before, you make the show your own. You make your conversation. We want to hear from you to see what you got to say. And I can't wait to see how you all's opinions go with the polls. And also, if you haven't already, leave a like on the stream. Keep on commenting. Keep on sharing. Keep on subscribing if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. And hey, if you want to support the show, Cash App and PayPal. Links in the description as well. If you can, anything will do. If you want to give out, if you want to help support and help us to invest back into the show, would mean the world to me. You all drive this show. You all help make this thing worthwhile. So we can't do this without viewers like you. So we appreciate it so much. But again, in the poll, I want to hear from you all. We'll give it a couple minutes, and then let me see what you all got to say, and then we'll ask some questions based on it. But let me see more about the chats down below. Loma Haney, I chose. No one stood out in fight. Or Loma Haney, I had close. No one stood out in fight. It was indeed like an incredibly close affair with how the fight took place. I had Lomachenko winning that fight in the last, in the later stages of the round. Again, with Devin Haney, I'll capitulate. He did win round 12, but from rounds like 6 and on, arguably from rounds like 5 and on, I had Lomachenko closely winning these rounds, especially I think it was round 9 when he almost, when he was taking it to, when he was really taking it to the likes of Devin Haney. But let me keep on reading what you all got to say. If Haney fights Norman the way he did Ramirez, I'm done with him. Hey, if he just might, he just might. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised at that, man. I'm telling you, don't be surprised at that. He just might fight. He just might fight him the same way he fought Ramirez. Because you have to understand, Ramirez, Devin Haney didn't want to get caught with the left hook, Devin Haney didn't want to get caught with the left hook. And Bill Haney went on record saying, I made this game plan so that we could shut up the haters and just get the win. And that's all we wanted. Just the win. We get the win, we're good. We don't get the win, we were going to be ridiculed even more. Backfired. Showed he didn't trust his son. Showed he didn't make a game plan that trusted his son's abilities. And now it's potentially created a seed of doubt in Devin Haney's own mind, causing him to believe that, hey, I cannot take any form of power at all. And because of that, you may see a predisposed disposition from Devin Haney to fight like he did against Ramirez and continue to run around and get not boxed, run around the ring. And if he does that, boy, this could get ugly very quickly. It could get ugly really quickly. So don't be surprised at that at all. I'm telling you. I promise you that. It is not out the question at all that we can see Brian Norman face off against a Devin Haney that is just reluctant to engage in the slightest. And if he does do that, he's going to get knocked out. If he fights like that, he's going to get knocked out. I guarantee you. If he fights anyway like that, he's going to get knocked out. He's going to get put to sleep. Devin Haney's going to get put to, if he fights like that scared, that conservatively, he's going to get put to sleep. Because Brian Norman can keep up with him. Brian Norman can cut up the ring. Brian Norman will be able to attack the body. Brian Norman is not nearly as slow as Jose Ramirez. In fact, he's comparable in speed. Maybe not as comparable, but it's comparable in speed to the likes of a Devin Haney. And he can be able to trap Haney and muscle him to go where he wants him to go once he does indeed get to the clinch. And he will be able to rip downstairs to the body. Do the same inside work that we saw the likes of Lomachenko do against Devin Haney, but on a more damaging level. And now, just like what we saw with Devin Haney when he fought against Loma, and Devin Haney was ripping downstairs to the body, try to stop the footwork of Lomachenko, we're going to see Brian Norman take a similar approach to Devin Haney. Only issue is it's going to be effective. It's actually going to work. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad. It's going to hurt real bad. And Devin Haney about to be in some trouble. He about to be in some trouble. And when his legs fail him, he's going to have to grind for his life. And it's going to be an issue. It's going to be a real issue. Let me see. Hard to type everything. Basically, I don't think Haney is as broken mentally as people think. I agree with that. I can capitulate to that. He was ready to step to rematch Ryan and was ready to fight Teal. You're right. I am not saying that he's broken mentally from the standpoint of, he just doesn't take the power. I am saying there is an aspect of his mentality due to the game plan that Bill Haney directly designated against Jose Ramirez, where he didn't let Haney be everything that Haney normally is as a fighter, and only wanted him to avoid the left hook and avoid getting touched at all without any sort of forward engagement. That spoke to he did not trust that his son could take power at this stage. Because of that lack of trust, Devin Haney may have also garnered a level of concern from not just the left hook, but power as a whole. And so even if he does fight like he normally fights, which even then, I don't think he would beat Brian Norman, the conservatism that happened in the Jose Ramirez fight can pop up again, because now it is seen as a failsafe. You see what I'm saying? It's like old habits die hard. That when you had doggone, what's his name, Wilder, trying to learn how to box, and when all else failed, he just went back to ripping that straight right hand because he didn't know anything else to do. Old habits die hard, and new habits that work all of a sudden become a comfort blanket, become a new tool that if all else fails, I can rely on that. And that's what we can see with Devin Haney. And if that does happen, if what I think is going to happen happens, and the boxing ability isn't able to keep Haney away from the power and from the actual pop to be able to outbox Norman and keep him off of him with that long jab, he can revert back to that mentality that he went against Jose Ramirez. And if that happens, it's going to be definitively, now he is in the mode of, I can't get touched by anything. And that's going to cause him to get knocked out, in my humble opinion. So that's my perspective on it all. And so at least for me. And he's taking Brian Norman down. So again, he's not I'm not questioning his fear to fight anybody. He's not scared to fight anybody. My concern is when he does fight somebody, when he does get in the ring. Now, how is he going to operate inside the ring? Not will he take him on. He'll take him on. But will he take him on as the same fighter that fought like he did against Jorge Linares, like he did against Kambosos, like he did even when he was hurt against Ryan Garcia? I don't know if we're going to see that anymore. And that's where my concern is, where if he gets uber conservative, he, one, might be more inclined to, and two, if he goes down that road, he's going to get knocked out definitively, opposed to potentially, at least for my playbook, for my venture. I mean, other than that, I think he's just a good enough fighter. Like I said, he can beat. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he can't. It's going to be interesting to see how Norman faces up against a boxer of this caliber from a sweet feet type perspective. This is going to be probably one of the most tricky fighters that Brian Norman will have ever faced in his career. So he can be potentially outthought inside the ring in terms of Brian Norman. I completely agree with you there. I just don't think it's going to be, I just don't think that's what we're going to see. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see Haney be able to outthink Norman to mitigate what Norman's going to bring to the table. That's what my concern is. And so I'm going to keep on. I'm convinced Devin only fought like that to ensure that zero issues getting the Ryan Garcia rematch. Besides that, Barno won't let him fight like that again. You right. So I can agree with that. I can agree with it. Let me see. Yusuf, I'm in. Yeah, brother. What's going on, Yusuf? How you doing? Thanks for tuning into the show. So glad that you're here. Leave a like on the stream. Get the likes up. Keep on sharing the show. Let me see what you guys say. Also, if you can support the channel, we ain't got monetization yet, but if you can and you want to help out keeping the lights on, help us invest back into the show. Cash App and PayPal, and links in the description as well. If you can't support anything, we'll do. But just go on and subscribe and keep on enjoying. Keep on getting the likes up, and let's see what you got to say. How Haney going to win without moving? If he stands there and fight using that jab, left hook coming, he in trouble to me. And so, but see, here's the thing. Hold on. Wait a minute. Devin can jab and move. We've seen him use that length and ability to be able to jab and get out the way, jab and step, like he did against Kambosos. We've also seen him go to war on the inside, like against a Lomachenko. We've seen him rock and recover like against Jorge Linares. We've seen different situations where he's had to go to different elements of his game and do it. There is that ability. It's there. He doesn't become undisputed for anything. You don't beat Lomachenko or have a close fight with Lomachenko just out of nothing. If he needs to go there, he can go there. My issue is, how will he get there? Or if he does get there, will he go and revert wrongly and too soon to the most recent game plan that worked so far with Jose Ramirez? If that happens, that's where my concern is. But no, he can box. He can jab and move. He can jab and step. He can set traps and box on the back foot, keeping Brian Norman off balance. It's possible. It's definitely possible. That jab is a rangy, lanky tool that can go through and blind you. It can sting you. He can feint it and cause you to bite and then come across with the right hand of his own, then get out the way and reset. He can go through it and hold it in front of your face to make it so you're having a tough time trying to close the distance. Maybe land an uppercut and then again step around. There's plenty of ways he can do it. He again, as a boxer, when he actually does box, he is great. He is. And they can give Brian Norman Jr. a world of trouble. He's not going to just stand there. Now, he might be forced to stand and bang. But his game plan is not going to be to stand and bang. But he might get forced to stand and bang against Norman, because Norman might cut off the ring and force you to have to be in the corner, in the ropes, or only have one side of the ring to be able to operate under, because he continues to smartly cut off the ring and make it so you can't go through and escape to use the whole 20 by 20 side. And so that's the thing, at least for me. And so, let me see, in a way, doesn't do that I don't know what you're referring to. It might have been something we talked about earlier. Please expound if you can. Interesting analyst now leading Norman. Now, hey, look, I'm telling you, like this ain't just a it's no we have to understand. Devin Haney fighting at his best can absolutely give the likes of Lomachenko some real trouble as it did. But Norman as a fighter brings everything that Haney despises. It does. He does. Let me see. Haney needed to go 147 quick after his shoulder injuries many years ago. Yeah, you probably ain't wrong about that. Is the fight official? Yes, the fight is official. The fight has been officially announced. They are going to fight on the card. They're going to be the co-main event of David Benavidez versus Anthony Yard. The co-feature is going to be Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. So it's set in stone. It's official. It's happening. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. Yoda. Hey, brother. What's going on, Yoda? How they doing? How's it do to you? Oh, excuse me. Good gosh. How's it going? Good to see you. You and is that Black Goku? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Wait. Is that Black Goku? Wait a second. All this stuff. Hey. That's stuff. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. Glad to see that you tuning in. Let me see what you got to say. Let me see. Norman got feet. Absolutely, yes, he does. They said the same thing about Shakur. But see, here's the thing. Shakur was different. Shakur was different with how we're talking about Shakur versus how we're talking about the likes of Haney. Shakur fought like that because of injury. Yes, he did. One time. Absolutely. And then he knocked out Padley, did what he did against the likes of Zepeda just recently, and shut all that noise down. Devin Haney, fully healthy, without any injury. Going against a brother that, again, he could have boxed like he did against Kambosos and others without any issue and beaten Ramirez cleanly. Could have actually beat him up, being completely honest, with how much of a better speed advantage that he had against him. But he didn't. That is because of his own holding back and because of the game plan. That is not like what we saw with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur we had people that had these types of same complaints with Devin Haney for a while. It just got exacerbated with this specific fight. But Shakur Stevenson was wrongly put into a category they didn't deserve. Shakur had been fighting in the pocket, countering and catching folks, doing real damage at 130, moving up to 135. Remember, he beat Jamal Herring in his prime and beat him soundly right in front of him. He beat Oscar Valdez, again, in his prime, and beat him soundly, bloodied him up without any issue in the pocket. He knocked out Yoshino in his prime, undefeated, coming from Japan. Was looking like one of the bigger punches in the division. And beat him clean in the pocket. Boxed with them and was laying paws on that brother every single time out. It was getting ignored though, because people didn't like the stylistic nature. And they thought, again, negatively, they thought it was boring. And then when he wasn't getting knockouts, all of a sudden, he's just a runner. He doesn't want to, he ain't got no smoke. He ain't got no pop, all this stuff. So Shakur was put in a category they didn't belong in. Negative. Off of that one fight by De Los Santos. But again, he was injured in that fight. Devin Haney wasn't injured for Ramirez. And he still fought like that willingly. Even after he had gotten the fight in the bag, he still didn't try to actually engage at all. And so, now, going up against Brian Norman Jr., we have some concerns. Hey, brother, you did that against somebody who had some pop, but that was all he had. Now going up against somebody that has some pop, speed, actual good feet, and can catch you and got the length to reach you and is stronger than you. Just like Ryan Garcia. You don't want that same thing that Ryan Garcia did to you to happen against Brian Norman. Are you going to do that again? That's where the concern is. But let me see. Now, if Devin is if Devin this great boxer, like people say, Norman power doesn't matter, just like Tanks didn't against Roach. And if it shows up, it shows up. We're saying that Devin Haney's best opportunity to win would be to fight like he used to fight like before the fight with Ramirez. The fights previous of Ramirez and Ryan Garcia, like with the Lomachenkos, like with the Linareses, like with the Cambosos, those are fights that, hey, they can give Norman some good work. It really can, and he can win. But because they were fighting like him, and he was using all of his tools. Regis Prograis, another example. Those entities of Haney are great entities of Haney. This most recent one, we're scared, is going to be the permanent one that we see. Even with all those boxing abilities, Norman's power would still give him some trouble. Yes, it would. McCumbie's power gave Caleb Plant some trouble. And McCumbie is leagues better than the likes of, or is leagues worse as a boxer than the likes of Caleb Plant. McCumbie's power, they gave Diego Pacheco some concern with how he approached the fight. And Diego Pacheco is a better fighter than McCumbie. It did. It gave him some concern and some cause for pause. It truly did. But still, he beat him. Norman's ability and Norman's physical advantages coupled with his boxing ability are everything that Devin Haney hates. He hates strength. Devin Haney hates size. Devin Haney hates when you have a reach that's comparable to him. Devin Haney hates when you have footwork that can keep up with him. Devin Haney hates that you got the ability to counter his speed with shots that can hurt him. He hates it. He didn't want to be on the inside with Lomachenko. He hated that. But he was forced to. He didn't want to have to go to scrap with Lomachenko when he was able to mitigate the jab, but he was forced to. He didn't want to have to taste the power that Lomachenko brought when he got on the inside and was landing with those short flurries, jabs and straights and hooks and changing angles, but he was forced to. Brian Norman, with the strength, with the power, and with the legitimate boxing ability, is somebody who is great. Even Shakur, where's that thing? Hold on. Shakur Stevens, where's Shakur? Where's Shakur? Where is Shakur? Hold on. Shakur had a great point. Where's it at? Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm gonna pull up this clip that Shakur said about Brian Norman. Come on. Where's it at? Brian Norman. It should be here. No, that ain't it. Here we go. Yep, right here. Right here we go. Look at this clip right here of what Shakur said about Brian Norman Jr.
Here, I'm gonna get y'all some boxing IQ. Fuck it. I'm gonna go.
Let's go, nigga. Cigar talk, nigga.
I'm gonna go a little deep on my thoughts. I feel like Dev in that outside range, he's kind of hard to beat. But once he step across that mid to close range, is where he's kind of vulnerable. And I feel like with Brian Norman, he could take advantage of that mid to close range action, and Dev gonna have to take advantage of that long outside range action. So that's how
I agree with that. But do you think Brian Norman has the feet to force him into mid to close range? And that's what I don't know.
Now, listen to this. This is going to be important.
I don't think his feet is bad.
You don't think so?
I don't think his feet
I don't think bad, but it's like, do he got the feet to force Devin into situations he don't want to be in? And I don't know that. I think
he's a lot faster than you give him credit for. Like you know what's crazy, bro? I sit and watch not just fights. I go watch his training. I go watch him on the pads. And when I'm watching him on the pads,
Norman?
Yes. I watch him on the pass, and I get to see how he moving his legs. He moving around the ring, using the ring like a back in the day old school type fighter. Like, so, bro, I'm a fan of that dude, bro. That's a hell of.
I don't want to sound like.
See? You see? You see? That right there. That right there. Back in the day, old school type of fighter. See, here's the thing. It's not that Devin Haney and his feet are oh so. They're elite. I'm not saying they're good. They're fast, absolutely. Brian Norman doesn't move like a fast-footed fighter, but he moves like a controlling fighter. And similar to what we saw with footwork back in the day with fighters of the past, you didn't need to be quick to understand where and how to move. Canelo, perfect example. It's not about who somewhat of a back in the day type of sentiment of he's able to go through and with very minimal effort when he wants to. Hopefully it's more often than not. But when he wants to, and it ain't like a William Skull, when he wants to, he goes through and is able to cut off the ring with smart, deliberate movement. Archibald, another buddy with the old school type of flair to him. He goes and he moves. It ain't pretty, but he's always able to stay with them. Bam Rodriguez, another brother, some old school level movement with how he goes about his fighting in the ring. And he's able to cut off the ring. You saw what he was able to do to Kafu for literally 9 rounds before he knocked him out. We watched that fight live along with the Manny Pacquiao fight. You don't need fast movement to be a great mover. You don't. You don't need fast movement to be a great mover. You don't need quick feet to have good feet. You don't need outright Amir Khan level speed to be able to be wherever you want and beat your opponent to spots. It's about understanding angles, and it's about implementing the right type of footwork. If you can do that, you can cut off anybody. You can cut off anybody. Even the great Floyd Mayweather got the wing cut off at times against Maidana and was having trouble going up against the likes of Emmanuel Augustus. Said that was the hardest fight of his career. We know this. Because it's not about just it's not about the speed of your movement. It's about understanding movement. Quickness ain't everything. Basketball, perfect example. You got people, whether it's Muggsy Bogues, Kyle Lowry, De'Aaron Fox, who's another quick brother who's able to get downhill with a great we'll use modern day examples. You got De'Aaron Fox and you got Jalen Brunson. De'Aaron Fox right now is the fastest guard in the NBA. No question about it. There is no question about it. De'Aaron Fox can beat you from going to point A to point B in a heartbeat. His first step is incredible. His lateral movement, even when he's dribbling, is incredible and can beat you going whatever he wants once he gets a step on you. Yet still, we got Jalen Brunson as one of the top 3-point guards in the league, the leader of the New York Knicks, and is a buddy who's able to continually go through an average 26, which averaging 30-something in the playoffs this past year. And has been doing that every single playoff stint he's been in the playoffs, all because he looks like he's moving slow, but he's able to beat everybody he wants to the spot because he understands positioning, change of pace, and his footwork on the floor is able to go and beat what his defender's doing because he's smart with it and knows the right move to do. Luka Doncic, same situation. Nikola Jokic, same situation. They look like they ain't moving but 5 miles an hour. But it's because they may be slow, but you can't stop where they want to go because they get to their spot because they understand what move to make and where to get you to bite. And everything is optimized rather than just outright speed. Devin Haney, majority of his movement is great. He understands it, but it's outright speed that he's been able to use to capitulate everybody that he fights against. But when that thing fails, like it did against Ryan Garcia, though again he had PEDs, like it did against Ryan Garcia when it wasn't helping him, like it did against Lomachenko when it wasn't helping him then, in the second half of the fight, all of a sudden, there's no smarter movement to get back control of where he wants to be and what he wants to do. But Norman has that. Again, it ain't quicker. It ain't faster. But I guarantee you, it's deceptively smart with Norman's footwork. It's good feet. It ain't quick feet, but it's good feet. Because it's able to go through and get to where he wants to go without having the advantage of I'm just outright faster than you. But it's fast enough that he can make it so that he's able to beat you to the spot, even if it does come down to pure speed. But he doesn't rely on that all the time. It is positioning. It's understanding where to be and when, and predicting where your opponent is going. That is what Brian Norman made. That's what makes his feet so good. That's what old school boxers used to do. Archie Moore, Floyd Patterson, Joe Louis, one of the most balanced fighters in boxing history. And they're just heavyweights. Marvin Hagler. The list can go on and on and on. Good feet is never just about being quicker than your opponent. It's about having the understanding of dimensions of the ring and how and when to move. Not just about being fast outright. And that's why I'm very high that Norman can stop what Devin Haney brings to the table. Because without just the ability of physical dimensions, which Norman has, that can either match in or eclipse what Devin Haney brings to the table, mentally up here, with understanding of how to move where you want somebody to go, I think he's got the goods to nullify whatever movement that we see Devin Haney try to do. Whatever tactics of boxing on the outside he tries to do. And like Shakur Stevenson said, once it gets to that mid-range area, now we're looking at a whole different fight game. And that long range ain't going to be but so much of a window. Because Haney and Norman's reach, it ain't too far apart. So that mid-range for this fight might be normally long range for every other fight he's been in. And now he's really got to be on the out and out when it comes to wanting to win that exchanges. Let's not forget the defensive blocking that we see Norman be able to do with his ability to parry and get out the way of stuff. To work his way inside. There's a lot of stuff that can make Norman win this fight. And that nullifies everything that Haney would want to do. And when Haney does have to get into a brawl, which I think it's going to have to be, he ain't going to be able to take it. Because everything that he was able to match or at least compete with Lomachenko when it came to a war with, he lost that same interaction when it came to fighting against Ryan Garcia. And we can throw Ryan Garcia out if you want to say PEDs were a factor. Okay, fine. The same thing that Lomachenko was able to have advantages over when it came to that mid to inside range are the same things that Norman's going to be able to have advantages over when it comes to fighting Devin Haney, but he's going to have more power. He's going to have more length. He's going to have more leverage and be better off controlling and keeping Haney where he wants him to be because of the physical dimensions and not having to only rely on the matrix level footwork that we know Lomachenko has. He can also just outright bully Devin Haney, unlike what Lomachenko was able to do. To go and say, you're going to stay here because I want you here. And you're going to have to fight your way out of a wet paper bag because you ain't punching and hurting me. So you got to take this damage and keep on trucking or else get knocked out. That's what's going to happen. I guarantee you that's what I feel is going to happen. Let me see. Let me keep on reading. Yeah, Devin is playing possum. No one will get over aggressive and get caught. Maybe so. I'm not saying it can't happen. I just don't think that he's got the power, especially at 147, especially going against Brian Norman, to be able to catch and hurt him. I'm not saying he can't. It's just incredibly unlikely. In the last 5 fights, who's the tougher fighter? Shakur, Devin, or Tank? Oh, who fought tougher fighters? Shakur, Devin, or Tank? Well, Tank is out the question. Tank isn't even a fact. Of the last 5 fights, everything. It was Ramirez, Ryan Garcia, Ramirez, Ryan Garcia. Let me look at it. Let me compare. Hold on. Let me take some time. Let me compare real quick. Let me pull it up. Top of my head, I don't know. While I'm getting it together, I'll read other people's comments. But let me give me a second to go and pull up the resume, so I'm not going just blind. And then I can give you a better answer. Let me see. On disrespecting opponents in a way doesn't do that like I did. You right about that. Let me see. Yo, Trey. Hey, brother. Yo, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show. So glad that you're here. Let me see what you guys say. I think Ben too much for Shakur. I think Shakur can beat Conor Ben. I do. But, brother, that's going to be a time and a half. That's going to be a time and a half. That's going to be a struggle. That's going to be a struggle. I think it's and more than just the pop. It is the explosive speed of Conor Ben that has me really concerned. Because, see, unlike with Williams Zepeda, Conor Ben going from A to B is night and day compared to what we see with the likes of Zepeda. With all due respect to Zepeda, I don't know. That's a good fight. That's a really good fight. I lean towards Shakur, but that's like 55-45 right now. That can be 50-50 for being completely honest, because that's a close affair. Shakur is going at Conor Ben. He is. When that fight gets made, I'm all for it. If we don't get Tank versus Shakur, I'm fine with Conor Ben versus Shakur. I'm fine with Shakur versus Schofield, especially now after the knockout of Tevin Farmer. I'd love to see that fight. I would love to see that fight. Any of those two fights, I would love to see. No question about it. But let me get back to the answer of with Devin Haney. In the last 5 fights, who has had the tougher competition? Haney, Tank, or Devin, or Shakur? Excuse me. Well, Tank's out the question. Tank does not belong in that conversation at all. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will probably be Devin Haney. Because again, Haney fought Kambosos in a rematch after already fighting him in Australia. Fought him both times in Australia. So it was Haney, Lomachenko, Prograis, Garcia, and then Ramirez. And so, of the 5, Kambosos, who, again, his last win at that point in time, before getting beat by Devin Haney the first time, was Teofimo Lopez. But if you don't rate him highly, that's fine. So it was Lomachenko, Prograis moving up to his first fight at 140, and then Ryan Garcia. Though, again, lost but no contest. If it had gotten to a no contest, he would have lost. But still, regardless of the result, Devin Haney has had the tougher road of the last 5. And then Jose Ramirez, former champion, now going against Brian Norman Jr. So yeah, if we want to go with the 3 or 4, Lomachenko, Prograis, Garcia, Ramirez, 4 out of the 5, with the 5th one being Kambosos. Some people don't rate him highly, so I'll leave him out the list. That's a rougher road than anything that any of these other fighters have done. That's tougher than Shakur. Yes, it is. That's definitely tougher than Tank. Yes, it is. That's tougher than a lot of people in the division. Yes, that's tougher than the last 5 fights that we've seen Canelo be in for his career. Yes, it is. I guarantee you that. Let me see. Devin wasn't trying to show Ryan anything. Anything Norman knows is old. Devin is a great position. Norman doesn't know what to expect. Well, if Norman does have the track record of the other fights in Haney's career, so it ain't like we don't know what to expect. It's the fact that more likely than anything, Haney was trying to just get the win and make it out of Dodge to secure the rematch with Ryan Garcia. But in terms of showing anything new, unless he has something up his sleeve for that fight with Ryan Garcia. It didn't look like really he like we weren't going off of that performance with any good rapport. We weren't going off that performance with any good rapport. If anything, we were saying if Ryan Garcia had won that fight against Rolly Romero, but we would have been saying we don't want to see that rematch because we know what would happen. Devin Haney's going to get destroyed if he fights against Ryan Garcia fighting like that. And I don't know what he can improve, what he could have improved off of with that type of performance. I don't know what he was hiding. But you need to show us something because that was just terrible. And against Brian Norman, but even if he was hiding something, what would he be hiding? That would be a nail in the coffin to say he would be able to beat Devin Haney. I don't know what it would be. It can't be some unforeseen footwork because we've seen him go against the Matrix in Lomachenko, and he couldn't outmaneuver him. He ain't got better footwork than Lomachenko now. He still does. And to the all time, he doesn't. We know that. But he's still elite. He ain't got no more punching power. Shane Mosley tried to teach him something, but the brother just wasn't throwing. And so he was a Shane Mosley like, hey, buddy, that ain't what I taught him. So he ain't got more power. Showed up ain't gonna have more power at 147, almost assuredly. Sure, he got right the right hand on the chin to stop the left hook. He got that fixed. Great. But beyond that, was he able to show a new framework of offense? Was he able to show that he was able to work inside the pocket with a big puncher and be just fine? No, because he ran, not boxed, ran for the entirety of that fight. Did he even use his jab to the way that he used it against Kambosos? No, he didn't. So it's like, didn't show that aspect of your game. There's a bunch of stuff that he just didn't show. And it's like I can't give you the benefit of the doubt. If even with this last performance, you can say you were hiding something, but you didn't hide just something. You hit everything. That wasn't a performance of like, I got more in the tank that I can show. This is a performance of, brother, I'm just trying to survive and get out of Dodge. And that's problematic. That's just terrible. And that's not a good performance, at least for me. What happened to the Roach fight? Right now, that Roach fight looks to be in the dirt. No, not clapping. No, that's horrible. That's terrible. Right now, that Roach fight looks to be in the dirt. That Roach fight looks to be in the dirt. At this point in time, that Lamont Roach fight looks to be off. And again, we every week, we've been playing clips about something new that Lamont Roach has been saying about that fight. He's signed. He's ready. They're waiting on Tank. Tank hasn't signed. The fight is August 16th. There's been no official announcement outside of the date. There's been no point in time where promotional stuff has been made from any side of the promotional aisle. There has been no official statement given by anybody on either team saying this fight is indeed a go. And there has been, and it seems like there will never be, an agreed upon time. Once again, the fight is scheduled for August 16th. We were saying, and again, we had seen fighters in the past do this type of contractual leverage before. In the second Roberto Duran fight, Sugar Ray Leonard waited up until about 3 weeks before the fight was supposed to happen to sign the contract. And then while Roberto Duran was partying, drinking, doing all that stuff, celebrating the win, not again, because the fight seemed like it was not going through. All of a sudden, hey, you got a call. The fight's been signed. You got 2 weeks to train. And that's what helped to cause the No Moss fight to happen. Because Roberto Duran was legitimately in no shape at all to go through. He was like 190 going into, or he had to cut from 190 down to 147 in less than 3 weeks. He did it somehow and fought. But like, he was in no shape. That's part of the reason why he went no Moss, because he was like, hey brother, my body literally cannot do this. I cannot do it. I cannot win. Because I am in no situation. Now again, He shouldn't have been partying that much. He did it to himself. But still, that's one of the factors that Sugar Ray Leonard did to help keep Roberto Duran off his game. If that's what we're seeing Tank do to Lamont, hey, it's a chess match. But even still, by their own volition, in light of this whole situation with domestic violence and him having to go to jail, making bail and all that stuff, seems like he's been out the ring for upwards of 6 months. So he might not even be ready for that either. So he genuinely, it's looking like all signs are pointing to that fight is off. And I hate it. I really do hate it. But it is a real, it's a real concern that right now, it's looking like it ain't happening. And he said, forget that PBC belt. And it's like, I've been saying for the longest time, Tank should be stripped. Tank should not be fighting. Or excuse me, Tank should be stripped if he ain't fighting. And right now, Tank is just sitting on a pile of wasted opportunity and potential. And it's such a shame because it's like the brother could genuinely be. Could he beat Lamont Welch? I think so. I think he could. I would love to see it. It's just the fact of the matter, the brother just doesn't want, he just ain't trying. That's the biggest thing. The cat just ain't trying. And if he did try, we would see something great. But the brother ain't trying. And because of that, we're seeing nothing of note. And we are wasting time. Now, who he fights next, I'm not sure. Does he go after one of the other contenders at 135? I would love to see him fight. Hey, if you want a belt and you want to keep this momentum, go fight Schofield. Go fight Floyd Schofield. I would be more than happy to see that. I would be so excited to see that fight. Lamont Roach versus Schofield would do wonders. Wonders for the regime of lightweight. And would be perfectly in line with, hey, this brother's one of the tops in this division. And if with what he did to Tank, everybody better be put on notice. And you better be able to bring your A game. Because this might be a different beast. But I would love to see that fight. I absolutely would love to see that fight. If it indeed did happen. But at this point in time, only time will tell. And sadly, we just won't know. Sadly, we just won't know up until maybe a couple months down the line. Maybe a year. Whatever the case may be. Lord knows. We just need something. Lord knows we just need something. But real quick, let me go back and let me end this poll before we get out of here. I'll give y'all enough time to do it. So it is a 50-50 split for who people think is going to win between Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. I thought it was going to be more. Wow. There's still a level of, man, I did not think it was going to be that much of a, I knew it was going to be close. I didn't think it was going to be split down the middle of how many people thought it was going to be Haney and Norman. Who can win this fight and give Haney a chance? Again, I said 60-40 from what we see with Haney right now, with no improvement from the fight with Ryan Garcia based on what I've seen. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be competitive, at least in you all's eyes. And you know what? We'll touch on this on Thursday. But I do want to have a question in mind. What if we see that Devin Haney, or rather, excuse me, let me pinpoint it. For tomorrow's conversation, we're going to have other topics, sure. But if we do get back to this, a question I do want to pose before we get out of here. What is the one thing that you think that Devin Haney is going to be able to do that will be able to make Brian Norman lose this fight? What's the one thing? And I've been asking this consistently, that I'm still trying to figure out an answer. I don't see one way that Brian Norman doesn't win this fight against Devin Haney. I don't. But apparently, the public may. And the public indeed does. So I want to hear from you all. Now, See. Outside of this, because prayerfully, we don't see this happening, and we don't see Brian Norman, or we don't see Devin Haney run. Outside of running, you all for that. Yo, Trey, you all for that. You all for that, Trey. But outside of running, for tomorrow, if we get to the topic again, 50 with the split 50-50, people that think he's going to win, save for Thursday. Save for Thursday. What is the one thing you can think of that will give Devin Haney some real ability to beat Brian Norman Jr.? Because I just cannot see it based on what I've seen from Brian Norman and based on what I've seen from Devin Haney in the last 2 fights, or excuse me, we can even go 3 fights. In the last 3 fights, I can't see it. But I want to know, because y'all are seeing something I'm not. And I want to learn. And I want to see what it's all about from you all. So please, tomorrow, bring your thoughts, bring your opinions, and we're going to see what it's all about. But we're going to get out of here because it's the shoot. It's 3 hours, 15 minutes. We went way over what I thought we were going to do. But we're going to get out of here. We're going to wrap it up and sitting home. So with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Thank you so much for listening again. Please go on and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like on the stream before you get on out of here. Comment what you like or didn't like about the show. Share the show with everybody you can to keep on building up this empire. And hey, hit the notification bell so you can, 1, join the empire, and 2, so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube. If you want to support the show, help keep the lights on, help invest into this monolith that we're building up together, Cash App and PayPal, links in the description down below as well. If you want to give anything we're doing, we support it oh so much. And be sure to be back here on Thursday to discuss the world of boxing and beyond. We might do a live stream for the Tajiri fight on Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday morning. But again, I'll put out a poll to see if y'all want it or not. But with all that being said, we're going to catch y'all later. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your night. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. We are going to see you all on Thursday and potentially on Wednesday, depending on the poll. But be safe, be blessed, and we're going to catch y'all later. Peace out.